Parents got a free car. My daughter,
Smart.
2026 Audi RS6 Avant with performance package will turn 3 soon, and Audi is not returning your calls. Well, you know what, Audi? You've got to do better. I mean, come on.
Exactly.
I appreciate you.
More news. I mean, there has to be something going on right now again as the market shoots up and oil shoots down. So we just got another.
The only thing I saw was Hegseth is in the Situation Room. Came across.
Oh, he's in the Situation Room. Oh, wow.
Why would that be?
Shout out to the Situation. I hope him and Hegseth have a very good meeting. So, Jim Tan Laundry, Mr. Hegseth. All right, man. I have less than 3% left. We're out of here. Again, thank you, everybody, for a good day. All right, Neil. Good day over there.
Good luck in the tournament.
Yeah, our team is crap. But yeah, hopefully we'll.
Well, it's not just about. Yeah, but it's not just about that. Like, you want to see Gia play well.
Oh yeah, I know she'll play well. I know. I have no doubt about her. She'll be fine. And yeah, lots of fun happening. And it is about, you know, the togetherness for sure. So one of her friends is actually over at the house right now, and we're getting ready to go. So, all right, thanks everybody. We'll see everybody. I'll see everybody on Monday, but the show goes on, man, and it's going to go over to the midday. But first to Sia, and then we'll go see what's for lunch as well, and maybe I'll show you what those sandwiches look like. Ciao for now.
Yeah, markets are moving. You're right, Sean, due to U.S. President Donald Trump still speaking right now. As you said it right. You said U.S. Secretary of War Hegseth is now in the Situation Room. Also, U.S. crude futures have been rising, and Trump has also said nobody wants to be a leader in Iran anymore, and there's no leaders left to talk in Iran.
Sorry, bro. What?
No, it was Trump himself.
Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the Midday Show. That is your boy, Joey Options. I am Sharif. And yes, Joseph.
Yes, sir.
We now have a consolidated chat, meaning that if you're watching us on TikTok, you're watching us on Kick, there's Twitch, there's, of course, there's YouTube, everything else, X, we will be able to see your messages.
Tell them what we're on there. Kick, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, X, Instagram. Are we live on Instagram?
No.
We're not live.
Okay.
We're not. We gotta do it live over there. Get the Instagram live.
Kind of, but we will.
Kind of.
No, Bastone.
No, Bastone.
We're not on OnlyFans. We will never be on OnlyFans. Whoa.
Okay? We can't say that.
Yeah,
we're not allowed saying that word.
Why?
I don't know. Apparently not.
Apparently not?
There's Katina Man.
All right. Well, we're not going to be on it.
See ya. What's up?
You're on it?
Oh!
When'd you open up the account, man? My goodness.
What's the handle, my boy?
All right, you Katina.
How much you charging? That's crazy.
Greetings, guys. Good morning. Welcome to everybody. Welcome to Bovin. I see LNAI Bovin. I knew you were going to say that. I'm watching Anna as well. Shout out to Other Zinc. Shout out to Mimi Wasabi. We got Monster. We got Old Wise Trader. Big E is in the house. 0031 Mike. Never say never. You're right, Mike. Shouldn't. I'm trading Rick, Chris Onion, Options and Deep. We got Overthinking Bear and Grandmother Shun. Set it to Nick W, Omar, Hangry, Randy. Who else, man? Maya. We got Lee, the frickin' conductor with MF Dangerous. We got Randy Worms, Buffalo, frickin' Soldier, and Callum Mitchell Miller. I used to have a very, very good friend in grade school. Grade 2, actually. His name was Callum Auer. Shout out to him.
Sharif, my boy.
Go ahead, Joey.
Listen, we got to do it on the condensed chat there. Look at my guy, Fly Guy Hatchie on Kick. Are we doing it live, he asked over there. So shout out to Fly Guy over there.
I just want a Fly Guy. You know that I want that
song.
Oh, man.
Anyways, guys, there's TikTok. What's up? Shout out to everyone. I mean, yeah, what's going on? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. Oh, no. What did we just do, Sharif? Look, there you go.
It actually worked for you this time.
We're doing it live, that's for sure. All right, guys, let's see what we got going on here today. I want to reload on this trade. We're just going to get down to the nitty-gritty, right into the thick of things. We're not going to beat around the bush on this one. Short AMD via AMDL here. Getting a nice little move. We can do a little bit of a transaction. But I'm waiting for the reload. Maybe... All right, man, you guys giggling. You guys are giggling over there. I know you didn't say that. I know you didn't say anything. Katina Man.
What's the problem, bro?
Katina Man, where's the first game today? Scarborough Canlin. All right, hopefully you guys get the W over there. Hey, did you know that Canlin's publicly traded, right? You can buy ICE on the CFC.
I know that they are. Mic is on, by the way, Andre, if you're interested, which probably people aren't. Yeah, no, Canlin, yeah, they have, I think it's 4 pads at least per Canlin location there. So, yeah, you can go grab those.
I knew this a while ago, but anyways, long story short, buddies, my hockey team, they're complaining about the league fees and everything. So what do? I post the chart. I post a chart of ICE, offers a 2.3% dividend as well too. So instead of paying league fees, we just buy the stock, get paid a dividend, and then we just go upstairs and watch games for a couple.
Depending on the location, it's like about $300 to $500 an hour to rent ICE. So it does.
Go check it out.
It does get expensive. And you know what? They turn the. This is the thing about why I actually think it's not a bad stock, and I have to actually look at it. They turn the. Rinks now in the summer, well, they keep some going because hockey's 24/7, right? But to pickleball.
Oh, they go
yeah, so
not going roller.
Pickleball. I have no idea anything about the stock. Neil wants to know the dividend. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, okay.
You should get roller.
This ain't my party. Ciao.
All right, see you.
I love this guy, man. He's like, yo, I'm done work. All right, we're involved here in LNAI, Bovin. Looking for a hold off the volume weighted average price and a test of RE60. Got in here, as you can see on the position board. We're in at 54.8. It says 55 there because it rounds up. We're in at 54.8. 1 hour for me, 61, 2 hours, 67, 3 hours, 73. Look, the deal with this one is it's putting in 2 now lower highs in a row. We made that day high on the 1055 candle. That's the 60 penny print. The following candle, a red, not an engulfing candle. It didn't engulf, but it has a lower low and a lower high. And then this current candle also has a lower low and a lower high. What I'm looking at is general trend, okay? I'm not looking at just the micro 1-2 candle look. I'm looking at the higher lows. So you got area low over here, you got another area low, and then I would say this is another area low. So let's give this one the old college try. Let's see if we can work our way up into about, I'm gonna wet the beak here at 59.50. That's gonna technically be my 1 hour. It's really not, but it's at that 10 penny level. So I like to take it a little bit ahead of that. That's of course, if it makes it up there, no guarantees, of course, that it does. Let's see if it can shake 57. Current bar high is exactly 56.75. So the answer to whether we're able to shake the sellers at 57, at least momentarily, is no. Coming back down into my entry now, I stop out below 50 pennies. So let's go ahead and put that in now because I haven't actually done that yet. And we're going to have to give this obviously a little room, as that typically is the case. Let's look at Anna. Anna's going here, guys. Here we go. So into the high of the day. This one's all gas, no brakes. Let's see what we're going to do about this one. So let's look to take some shares over here on ANNA. This one is a multiple halter. And as we've seen lately, the halters have really been going. Okay? Joe, I got to send it to you because I'm about to execute on this one.
Sounds good, man. All right, guys. So this is what we got going on here today. We're looking at USO, NVDA, IBIT, AMD, Tesla, and Qs. Other than that, we're looking for the reload. Maybe we get that turtle shell type price action. The thing is, with this specific trade, we're going to have to be really patient on that reload. This is ideally where you want to get involved with, but it's too late now, as IBIT is starting to slide down to 39.41. So that pop up to 74 was short-lived and a good time. So, I mean, it's tough. The weakness within the underlying is still remaining. So you got to be cautious on what you got going on. Other than that, it's the same narrative here with IBIT, selling the AMDL, selling the volume weighted average price. You take some off. You wait till specific targets to be hit there. Boom, 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 boom. What was I? Yeah, I was risking about 10 cents on this specific trade, and then we wait to approximately 3 to 1. We partial it out, and then we're continuously taking some off. I'm sitting on approximately, how many do I have left here, Sharif, is the real question. Okay, so yeah, I'm sitting on approximately 20% remaining of this. I want to add aggressively. I was going to add some more up here, but never pulled the trigger, so hesitation nation on that front. But as soon as we get that pullback, if we do fail to break through this previous pivot high, then that's going to be my green light to go. Neckline being broken on Bitcoin, so watch out as the slide continues, probably heading towards the 60s, the high 60s via actual spot Bitcoin. The NASDAQ still hovering around who knows what at this point, below the volume-weighted average price. As for the bigger names, are continuing to slide, and USO continuing to the top side.
All right, brother, just give me some time because I'm just in a position.
Do your thing, man. Do your thing. Other than that, let's go over our scanner here. I'm on a different account right now, just running some things. So I can't run through my scanner right now, or do I have my watch list? But what we can do is just run through the options chain and see what we got going on here. As for Tesla, I mean, we were looking at the OPEX today, and you can see if you just look at your 5-minute time frames, the 5-minute volume, that first print, and how substantial the volume is. And even if you break down in increments and go over to the 1 minute, the lower time frames that is, you can see how much volume actually went through out of the open. And it's substantially more than what you typically see, all right? So, I mean, just be cautious on what we got going on. And it's the same thing that's going to happen near the close. Okay, so the imbalances are probably going to be a little bit heavier. You're going to see more notional size. And with that being said, it's going to probably give you a couple opportunities to put on some trades. So don't get too antsy. Give yourself some time, because once those imbalances reach, like I just said, it's going to present some opportunities, especially in the bigger names. AAPL, I was talking about, NVDA, AMD. Look at the volume here. I'll actually pull it up so we can get a little bit better of a picture. But look at the volume here. In that first 5 minutes. And if we head over to the 1 minute, there's just substantial amount, and we're not even anywhere close to reaching that. Usually the first couple of bars are relatively close, but it hasn't been the narrative. OPEX today, so be cautious. See ya.
Yeah, SMCI has been tanking after the U.S. Attorney's Office for Southern District of New York has charged associates of Supermicro with which is apparently an unidentified, as reported by CNBC, a U.S. server maker, which illegally diverting billions of dollars in NVIDIA. So Supermicro has said that one of the defendants was a co-founder and executive of the company, another was a manager, and the third was a contractor. And the U.S. government has been trying to figure out how these chips have reached China without their authorization.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So yeah, this is what I got going on here.
Right.
Just you're good now?
Yeah. We're okay. Keeping an eye on Anna. We're in Anna at 77s, looking for the break of 7. It's a 701 high. There's a huge seller at 90 that we can't shake. There's multiple rejections on the 5-second chart, all rejecting off 90 initially. I had a dip trade waiting at around 55 for what I perceive to be that area support. That's the breakout level. I saw multiple rejections initially at 55 with a wick or two through 60. It didn't quite make it down there. There it goes into 98s. Here we go again. All right, we're going to wet the beak here. Let's let this one run. I'm going to get stopped out of LNAI any second if it breaks 50. But this is really going. Here we go into 720. The breakout's on. It's very aggressive. Watch out now. I can't quite see what limit up is. We're still holding some shares on this one, packing the patience on this, but I probably need to flatten out my position on LNAI because it is going to lose the bid. It's losing the bid quite aggressively there into 50 pennies. I have my stop below 50 pennies, but I just want to focus for the moment on ANNA. I can't quite see where the limit up is. If it develops a price action a bit more, I'll be able to see it. So coming back down now, looks like it's failing 7 at least for now. So 725 high. This current bar still has a higher low and a higher high. So the current bar low, 67. That's where my trade is going to end. We're going to put it at 65, and we're going to give it down to 60 for the last remaining amount of shares. So I've moved up my stop on this one. Man, LNAI is failing, and it's basically wiping away my profits on this one. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more room. It's right at 50 pennies. I'm talking about LNAI. It's defending. But if it fails 50, then I'll have to let that one go. I just want to see that trade through. I put my stop below 50 for a reason. So continuing to watch here on ANNA. So long as this one is holding higher lows and higher highs, I'm going to add into the position because we've seen the one, these ones that are halting multiple times per day really do well lately. With maybe some of these others, I mean, like the non-halter, small cap gappers, all right, not too bad. So we're going to continue to watch this one. Still holding shares here on on ANNA, but LNAI is recovering a little bit. So I'm starting to think maybe I should just get the hell out of there and cover my losses, which is what I'm going to do since it popped back up. We're going to take the loss on that one, which is fine. That way it'll give me the ability to focus on this one. Joey, what do you got, my man?
Yes, sir. I'm looking for that reload here, just adding this watch list, guys. So put some tickers in the chat. We'll throw them on the watch list. We'll do it live. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this AMD trade. I mean, we held this there, so now we're just rocking and rolling, waiting for a little ad opportunity. We'll let it chop up here. The thing is Tesla and the NASDAQ isn't necessarily on a big climb, but Tesla just broke through VWAP. All right, yeah, keep putting those in there, and then we're gonna do it live here momentarily and just add things. Come on, like T and ENLT, like what kind of tickers are these, man? Throw in the Mag 7 and some of the other ones, IBIT, ETHA. But no, in all seriousness, whatever you got to make sure that also helps you vote. CRM, thank you for that one. Tyler Smith, AZTR, these some SanDisk, appreciate that. Into this is what I'm talking about. Now we're putting some real names in the chat there, guys, and that's what I want to see. So we'll create this. We'll do it together. We'll construct our own watch list with names that we can go over time and time again. So all right, guys, here it is on AMD. Is this going to be my opportunity? I was just mentioning not too long ago about being patient, waiting for that prime time reload opportunity. As long as we hover around this neck of the woods and below VWAP, and there's no substantial buying pressure stepping in, what I want to see is maybe another additional fake out. We consolidate around $12.30, and then we slowly curl over, and that's going to be my sign to rock and roll and just add for a potential move. We may not get the low of the day once again, but if we fail to construct one and get a lower high, we can start piecing some out. But the whole point is the reload, my boy.
Here's exactly the chicken.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah,
That actually looks good, man. Where are the cookies, Katina, man?
They're in there. I don't know.
All right. Okay.
You using that salad dressing, Katina, man? Yeah. You like it? I like that. I wasn't seeing if you were using it, if I could get it, maybe.
Fantastic.
All right, my boy. I was just seeing if I could get a little bit of yours, man. All right, no problem. All right, guys. No, in all seriousness, there it is. A nice move from 1230 down over here. But yeah. Other than that, we'll be patient. A breakup through VWAP on Tesla. What has NVDA been up to? Not too much. And the NASDAQ is essentially just trailing that there. There's no pie there today, Oscarito.
Aww.
Yeah.
All right, guys, continuing to watch. Stopped out break even for the last remaining amount here on ANNA. The reason I got out, simple, it failed or breached, prior bar low. Here it comes into the $0.50. There seems to be a buyer here in and around the $0.50. I perceive support to be around 6. Okay, I'm going to give you a range, okay? 6, about and a fifth to 6. 10 EMA on the 5 is showing me 6 high teens, 6 mid-teens, 6.15, give or take. And then obviously that $6 level is important as well. It's a whole dollar level, but there seems to be a buyer here for whatever reason at the $0.50. So prior low here is 45. Let's continue to watch. Let's see if this one catches a bid. If it starts curling back up and changes its tune, I'm going to get back in. Otherwise, I'm waiting for that 6 1/5 to 6 to come in. But I keep seeing buying in the high 40s and the 50s defending this level on ANNA. So, you know, the reason I'm not in the position, it failed prior bar low. So trend was broken. That is, I don't want to say completely typical with these small cap gappers, but they're a lot more noisy than some of the other ones that we typically trade. All right, well, here we go. Popping back off here into the $0.50. It price spiked insane. It popped up into 63, dropped right back down. I'd be watching out here for a possible bull trap, but it doesn't look like it's doing that. In fact, it looks like it's changing trend. Let's get involved here. Let's see if we can give this to 44s because we know that's where the sellers were basically losing out. They were losing out at around 40. So we're involved here. Where do we get? We got 60. Let's see if we can pop up into 75. Take the profits there. There's 68. Let's see if we can get continuation. There's a lot of strength right now popping off in ANA, but it could be short covering, right? Because, well, we had a big drop from 725 down into this level. So let's pack the patience. Let's see what we can get. There seems to be a seller at 68, 69, 70 area. Let's see if we can cross that 70 area. Not quite yet. There's a seller at 70 now. Let's cancel that. And now there it is. Nice. Into 75. Oops. There we go. Let's continue to watch here. 72 still showing up. There could be resistance here at 75. There was a bit of a base that we couldn't shake. So watch out for possible resistance at 75. We're already getting a topping tail candle. If we breach below 60, I think that's awfully bearish, and I'm going to get back out. So we're going to move up the stop now into 57s so we can kind of lock in profits for that amount. So this, if it does fail 675 and drops back down, I'm going to get the hell out of there. But I'm looking for continuation, Joey, above that $0.75 area. But there seems to be a lot of selling, man, into the 70s. There it is, into 75 now. Selling at 75, as I anticipated. There's a shelf there locally, basically a former area of resistance, which we cleared, but then we're right back down below. So I do anticipate that it will likely be a bit of a resistance area until we can get a big bid to move all these sellers out of the way, Joe.
All right, brother Mang. Yeah, let's see. Might have missed that reload opportunity. I do believe we're going to get another pop, but my boy Gorev, I didn't even do that, guys. So we're building our watch list here. How did I forget this name, you ask? I don't know, because we were just talking about it. Let's add insert a row right there. And we're just going to go Zuck and Company right there, META. So keep putting it in the chat, guys. If you see anything that I'm missing in the top names, let's build this watch list here. We got the SPY, the NAS, IWM, the Dow, USO, IBIT, Ethereum, NVDA, Apple, MF Dangerous, and I on the same page, just thinking, doing something. Who do we got? YSS. But see, these are small caps. These things come and go. You know what I mean? Like a bus.
Oh yeah,
they go,
straight up.
Miss one, and then the next one is coming in approximately 10-15 minutes or so. Oklo. But see, I was going to sing a song, bro. But it's a famous line from probably one of your favorite rappers of all time, Gucci Mane. Yeah, just in case. So yeah. But anyways, aside from that, guys, let's wait for this pullback one more time, and then we can get involved and have that ad. We did break up through VWAP in Tesla, and now we're starting to pull back in. Meta has been selling all day. And how has Google been performing on the intraday session?
How's it doing, Joey?
Not doing too good, my boy, as it's down to $300. And I told you can be the hottest stock on the block and eventually start to pull back a little bit here. And I think that's kind of what we're seing in Meta. How come I can't, in Google, sorry. How come I can't do that? There we go. So, I mean, we've seen the exact same example in what goes up, no matter how strong you may be, will eventually somewhat come down. And I think that's kind of been the narrative here in Google. This trend line is still fully intact. Have we capitulated? Absolutely not. But we have multiple touches here. We snapped that trend line. We're on the backside of it, and we have been since February. So for over a month there, guys. And I mean, we've seen the exact same thing in Softy, as our boy Obi, who's be showing up momentarily. He's the exact same thing, right? Like, remember this run? This was all fun and giggles, right? And it's like everybody, when jumping on the bed, but then someone falls off, boom, you hit your head pretty hard right there, Sharif.
I used to get in trouble all the time for that. I throw my cousin off the bed.
Yeah, I mean, it's all fun until someone gets hurt, as they typically say, and then
he'd scream, and his mom would come, and I'd get yelled at. Oh, yeah, man. It was just,
yeah.
Punk.
Yeah, I would get beat up, man, but there's no screaming or snitching around here. My uncles would beat me up, and Charlie horses and everything, and yeah, we weren't allowed to cry, man. All right, so anyways, Microsoft down substantially, guys, 30%. Like that's not good here, considering that we all love Azure essentially. So have to be patient. And same with Apple. And I like what Michael Noss was saying earlier this morning. It's like 40% is down, and a lot of these names are the big tech names. None of them are at the all-time highs, right? NVDA hasn't done anything for how many months now? 9 months. So this market will get going, and it's unfortunate that we have to go on the fact that it's really tough for the NASDAQ and the SPY to climb higher, regardless of breadth, but the big boys need to participate, Sharif.
They're participating, Joey. I mean,
they're not participating.
They're not. You're right.
They're not.
Guys, I've been watching the 5-second chart here for a while on ANNA. There is a very, very clear range being established now. It is 75 pennies as resistance and 45 pennies as support. We haven't breached 45, and we haven't breached 75 within this range. I realize, of course, we've been above and below those ranges intraday, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm looking looking now, because we're in a bit of a consolidative phase. Who's going to win out here? Are the longs going to win out, beating the sellers at 75, or the shorts going to beat the longs who are waiting at 45? We're showing 63, 61, 60, in and around that area, so we're in the mean. We're in the middle part here. You can do one of two things. You can look long for the break above 65, or you can look short for the break above 645. I'm sorry, I misspoke. You can do multiple things. Or you can look to build your position as a long at 45 with a tight stop, maybe in the low 40s. I would say be careful with that strategy, because usually when 45 gives, especially when it's been defending in this way, it's going to give. It's not going to give 1 or 2 pennies. It's going to give 5, 6, 7. So there's going to be slippage at around there. That means you need to account for that in your stop placement. Either you put your stop farther away, or you give your stop a larger range between the trigger and the limit. Okay, so if you know, you know. So what I've been watching here, I'm continuing to watch this trade in a range in the kind of mid 50s, mid 60s. Here we are back into the high 50s. I'm neither taking a breakout. I'm not taking the range trade here. I'm going to wait for the breakout. Okay, I'm looking for a decided move above 675. Perhaps.
Oh, Sharif,
Go ahead,
there's a big spike in oil here. Yeah, there's another volatility spike, guys. We'll wait for something to come in here. I don't see anything just yet, but Tesla went up with the market, came right back down, starting to print an inverted. I just wanted to bring that up because the chat's also going bonkers on the fact that we had another volatility spike. It's nothing crazy right now. We'll keep our eyes on it, and as soon as we hear something, we'll let you know. You can
keep going. I got it.
Yeah. So yeah, it's gone now. Like I mean, we've seen this on multiple occasions throughout the past couple of weeks in the month or so, be it, or whatever it may be. So just be prepared for these events to continuously happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it was either Donald Trump or someone on the opposite party saying something. So we'll be patient and see if we can. I gotta get in. I gotta pull that Twitter up, that thing that you sent me there, just so I can see. Anyways, aside from that, a nice pop up there. This is perfect. This is setting up really good for an ad, but we have to be extremely patient, okay? Gorev, Los Polios, check this out here. I don't know why I can't get rid of this here. By the way, it's not real or anything along those lines. So yeah, just because I'm trying to run my algo off of this thing, but yeah, this isn't anything to do with it. So anyways, aside from that, guys, inverted hammer there on Tesla, Gorev, Los Pollos, keep an eye on a breakdown through the volume weighted average price. If you do get a pop back up in 377, then I think you can drastically increase your risk to reward there. And NASDAQ, no pump. So you have Tesla moving a little bit higher, no movement in the Qs whatsoever. And then now we're starting to just form this consolidative range. What I want is that turtle shell and that slow curl over for us to add, and then maybe we can catch an all-day trender here on AMDL. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to type in. I still don't see anything, but I have to pop up a different news feed. So Middle East war poses great threat to global energy. Yeah, I mean, we knew that from time again. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's all I got going on right now, Sharif. We'll pull over NVDA heading towards the lows. Same with some of the other larger participants. Meta has been extremely weak here today, and I was just telling, wow, this thing gave up 600 like it was no tomorrow. Yeah. So boom, breaking through support. Street, like the CapEx, are for a little bit after the earnings report. After that, they're like, no, it's too much spending, not enough monetization.
All right, doing well here on ANA. Took another 25 penny winner. We got in at 77s, the best place there. Thank you, Katina, man. I appreciate you, brother. Looking for, we rejected the the $7 area again. I'm continuing to watch here. Remember we were talking about 75 as resistance? Well, lo and behold, now 75, ironically enough, is support. But that's the good news. The bad news is there's an annoying seller at 85 that keeps rearing their ugly head, and we can't really shake them at the moment. So what I'm staring at is my top screen. My top screen has the 5-second chart. Why do I use the 5-second chart? I'm trying to spot areas of support and resistance, which, you know, to be fair, show up on the level 2, but they are a little transient on the level 2 because the level 2 doesn't stay in any one area for a prolonged period of time. So I need, you know, because I don't have a great memory, I need to be able to kind of see it just to know that that's the level that I'm looking for there. So 75 buyer still hanging out. As you can see, we keep defending that 75 penny level, but I think I'm going to steer clear of trying to pick up the dip trades here, and what's worked for me so far on ANA are the breakout trades. When we clear a local seller like the one that was at 75, we broke out nicely into $7. Last though, that $7, this current candle is turning into a bit of a topping tail candle. Here we go again into 81. Let's see if we can shake the sellers at 85. I'm quite interested in getting right back into this one if we can clear 85 for yet another attempt at 7. And the good news is here, if we've defended this 75, 70 penny area and we take out 85, that'll be another higher low that we put in. So it was a 45 area low, then it was 55, now it's 70 to 75. So let's keep a watch here. There we comes, 86 seller here. Let's see if we can spike up. There it is. Let's go. Right into the high. Right in, man. There we go again on this one. Beautiful. Let's see if we can clear 7. Are we going to be able to clear 7 this time? We can't shake the seller at 7, man. So right back down into 88. So we're basically break even. Try not to paper hand this trade. Let's see if we can pump up a little bit more. Yeah, can't clear that seller at 7, sadly. So I'm going to give this a little bit of room now that I have a higher support level off which to work, and we've taken out that 85 penny seller. Again, now we're showing 87s, 85. Yeah, this one's losing bid again. Give this one an opportunity. Let's see if it fails 75, then I'll get out. If it fails 75, I'm out. If it defends 80, I'm going to stay in. Back into 85 it goes. Let's see if we can get another attempt here at the whole dollar. Doesn't look like we're able to shake that annoying seller who's shown up again, Joey, at 85. Can we start using 85 now as support? Back at 89, 90 again, seller at 90. All right, so we're going to have to post some beak wetters here because I don't want to be slow on the keys. Let's continue to watch here. What are you looking at, my man?
I'm looking at Tesla. I'm talking to my boy Gaurav. Shout out to Pop LaCork. Appreciate the look there, my friend. So what I'm thinking here is, and I respect the lookout, truly. So essentially, he's like, hey, man, you got to get out of that AMD trade. Look where the market is. Look what NVDA is doing. Look what USO is doing, right? Like we're heading towards the high. I'm thinking that we might get a small curl over. I'm willing to add more. I'm long from I'm short from all the way up here. I have some time and I only have 20% remaining in my position. So I'm willing to lose this more for the potential to add to that, to it. See ya.
U.S. President Donald Trump has concluded his remarks. However, the White House is saying that Trump has no plans to send troops into Iran. A White House official has said that Trump has no plans to deploy more troops into Iran despite new troop movements and reports of a possible Kurg Island blockade. The official added that the U.S. military could definitely be taking out Kurg Island at any time, but is keeping options open and not revealing their strategy.
That's super annoying. All right, it was breaking through 7. I didn't get the fill, didn't respond in time, but it did break through 7. So we're continuing to put in higher lows and higher highs. But as you can see, the wicks, all the breaks through 7 are wicks. Okay, so now we're going to put another order. There is 708. There's a boom, boom into 20. Nice breakout there. Let's continue. Let's look for the $0.25 now on ANNA. Looking for the move. It's a $0.25 high on this current candle. Here's 20 again. Let's see. Let's take out some here at 20. We're going to pack the patience. So now we're going to set up at 33s. Let's set up at 33. So there's a seller locally here at 20 and 25. Let's see if we can squeeze them. We're up 89%. 21 showing up again. Yeah, so now we're going to get a local seller at around 20. Does 7 defend, though? Do we have the juice to hold up above 7? Because 7 was definitely resistance. That's not really a question there. Can it act as support? There's a buyer at 6 and 7 here. 6s and 7s. Sorry. My bad. All right. Continue to watch here on Anna. Looking for the move again. I don't think it's the right thing for me to get out here. I think that there's a lot of strength. I think that the shorts are likely on the ropes here, whether or not a big seller comes in and dampens everybody's party. I mean, that's really beyond me. I can just try to run with the trade. I see higher lows. I see higher highs. But what I want to suggest is throw in some resting orders because this one is very, very transient in the level that it's holding. Okay, so it goes into 20, it goes into 25, it doesn't hold, and you try to punch out like live and it doesn't end up holding. So throw in those resting orders, see if you can catch the bids, and we're going to keep an eye out on that. What are you looking at, Joe?
No, man. TBK, our boy TBK. He reminds me of Danny Boy. He's got a good sense of humor.
I like
that. Yeah, I like that funny stuff. What was my boy who told me to get out of this AMD trade? He's looking pretty right now. So we'll be patient to see if this market's going to recover. We were hovering around the low. Someone said they're going long at the low of the consolidation. That's a smart play, as it didn't get that breakdown, right? Like NVDA bouncing. We have IBIT coming off of that 39.40 low, and then you have the NASDAQ coming off of that 586 low, roughly there too. So some good looks. I'm still going to be patient and look for that ad, considering I didn't have as much size I wanted in it. I wanted to double up right here, but then my risk would have had to be a little bit more tighter because of my shares. What I ended up doing was anticipating the breakdown, which we were fortunate enough to get, but I should be closer to the top end of the range instead of selling the lower end of the range, because I would drastically, another 10 cents or so, right? So that's another R or so along those lines. I know Chuck Norris is gone, man.
I saw he was in the hospital yesterday. I forgot to mention it. I saw it on the news blotter that we have here.
Yeah.
And I think,
he's come to his... I mean, he was like 80-something, though, so good life. Celebrate the life. I
used to be called Chuck Norris by my friends in university because I was always MIA.
Oh, is that what...
You don't get it?
No, I don't know. I don't get it, man.
His movies were called MIA.
He had a movie called MIA. All I remember is, I remember the TV show Texas.
I go to the club and I would disappear.
You did the old Irish goodbye all the time, eh?
Is that what it's called?
But you just leave and don't say anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, I mean, Texas Walker Ranger, that was a classic show right there. Shout out to anybody who's watched that, and maybe even Leave It to Beaver. That was the black and white show that I used to watch with my great-grandmother back in the day. But aside from that, guys, let's get some shares on. Enough talk here. We got that bounce up into AMD. We're still short this name. We're going to add a little bit more just to get this party rolling, really, to see if we can get a test of that $200 mark once again. As long as we consolidate, and if we breach view up, then we get out of Dodge and wait for another opportunity. We've already locked in approximately 80% or 90% of this position, so it ain't a thing but a chicken wing to add a little bit more here, Sharif. So that's what I'm going to do. Bang. Didn't catch the fill. Stuff. Now we catch it there now.
Again, bro? Are we going to do this again?
Yeah, we got to do it again, man. Yesterday
it wasn't enough,
work.
Joey.
It didn't work yesterday.
We need multiple days of the fire alarm.
Just in case anything changed from yesterday, you want to throw that up. So, you sweat in there. It's warm in here.
It's hot, bro.
Hey, you're going somewhere even warmer, my guy. So, yeah, you're looking forward to it?
We smashed legs today.
You smashed legs? Okay.
Glutes. I split my leg day into 3 different days.
Yeah, you...
So, glutes, hams, and quads.
Okay.
Throwing calves with all 3.
Yep.
And then when I do my leg days, they're splits. So I do the accessory work for the group, the glute. In today's case, it's glutes. Mm-hmm. So then I'll do the hard stuff later. So tonight we're gonna do Romanian deadlifts, or sorry, Bulgarian split squats. Excuse me, right? Barbell Bulgarian split squats, and then we're gonna do hip thrusters on the machine as well. So those are the heavy ones. We're gonna put weight on those. Today we do all the accessory, like the abductor machine, like the kickbacks and stuff like that.
I've been hitting the abductor machine lately. So
I feel like Bulgarian split squats like literally end me by the end of it.
They're supposed to be hard
anymore.
They're supposed to be hard. Well, you're isolating your entire body on one leg, right? So yeah.
I think it's better to do it just first and get it over with.
I don't blame that. I don't actually disagree with that at all. It would be nice to do that, but then the gains aren't going to be what they are.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah. That's kind of there.
Got those eye repeats, my boy. All right. No, aside from that, guys, USO uptick, market downtake. I'm gonna wait for a curl over here. Maybe we get a little bit of short on. We get a little short here on Tesla as well. As long as we don't break this high, I like our opportunity. This is really ticking me off. Like, get out of here, man.
I know, bro. He's so annoying.
Not that guy. This stuff over here, man. It's really just like in the way of everything, and I can't see what we really have. So let's see if we can get that curl over. We added up here on AMDL. If it heads back to our average, then we'll just take a break-even stop. So that's all we've done, really. Okay, we're at 30s right now. I'm going to be really patient on that. So I'll give back a little bit of unrealized just in case this market decides that it wants to curl over once again, as the NASDAQ is bouncing as well, too. So we'll be patient. My guy popped. Whoever said, Joe, get out. Yeah, we'll see what we got going on. This ad is extremely early, kind of just trade into trade at this point.
All right. Thank you very much. I want to see a 40 dash with Joe and Sharif. Money on Joe. I think probably Joe could beat me in everything, so you guys can just bet on him and I'll be the dark horse. I should probably tell you guys I'm quite fast. So
You're fast?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. Yeah, maybe not as fast as you, not as fast as him, but.
Is this on?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is on or not, but I have a better challenge.
It's not on. It's not on. It's not on. Hold
Not
on.
on, my boy. That's three buttons,
Neil. You got
my
that
boy.
one?
Now it's off now.
Yeah.
It's off. It's totally off now.
I should speak through one of your mics.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
Okay.
I got a better challenge. Once the weather gets nice, forget about these two guys running a 40. I'm willing to go, you run 40, you hand off to Joe to run the next 40, and I'll raise both y'all.
Oh,
But the handoff is hard though, Neil.
Figure it out.
But the hand, but no, the handoff.
just like
You're at a disadvantage with the handoff though.
All right, we gotta go to see it.
Yeah, I have news here. President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, has been speaking, and he said that would like to halt intel to Iran if U.S. cuts off Ukraine, according to sources at Politico. And Putin is also offering to stop sharing intel, as I said, with Iran. Just repeating, by Politico.
Thank you very much, Sia. Yes, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens.
And and Neil going after me, knowing that I'm fully not capable of running at all right now.
So, in case this is a very important headline here. It maybe shows a little bit of where President Putin's head's at. President Putin said he would halt intelligence to Iran. I'm assuming intelligence sharing, of course, if the U.S. cuts off Ukraine. Quid pro quo. I don't think, yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that all happens there. I'm assuming that's where they're getting their targeting coordinates for some of the infrastructure that they've been hitting. So, in any event, that's kind of beyond the scope of the show. Guys, I'm done with the Anna trade. I was just speaking here to somebody in the chat. I'm going to continue to watch Anna because while there's not too many small cap gappers running today, and I've traded it quite well, I see the higher lows are still in play. It's not really a 675 buyer anymore. I mean, it's dipping below that into the 60s, but as you can see, picking up steam again into the 80s it goes. You know, I'll try to be as strategic as I can be with my placement on this one. But I think if we start breaking out quite aggressively, we could definitely see a good move here on Anna. Just to give you an idea, because I know Neil did a call out the float. I see a 33.2 million share float, and that data is accurate. Sadly, it's a few months old as of basically New Year's Eve of last year. 33.2 million shares. So, yeah, that's the look there. Here it comes again into the 80s, high 80s, low 90s. The best print we've had was very close to the high day at 7.25. So a good look there. I also want to mention one quick one here. VG. You know, not nearly up as much as some of the others, but I perceive a good breakout level here to be around 1575, which kind of also jives with the 10 EMA on the 5. So I could be a buyer here at 1575, 1570 for kind of a flat top defend. To me, this looks like a flat top with a lot of selling at around the $0.75. Alas, this 1135 candle does take us into the high of the day of 1593. But the trend is still intact in my humble submission here. I mean, like, look at the higher lows. So VG in focus for me. I'll be looking maybe to get in here if I like what I see. But LNAI is just losing the bid and losing the bid freaking quickly here, Bovin. Didn't really hold up at all. And it's been basically putting in. Have a great weekend, brother. I hope you guys smash on the games. And, you know, we wish Gia all the best, obviously. Get it, Katina Man. He's got dad duties later today. He's got dad duties tomorrow. There's a big tournament in the borough. If you're from Toronto, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Scarbs. So yeah, I'm interested in VG. I'm not interested in LNAI because it looks like hot freaking garbage. Cool Brioche, 10 EMA on the 5. Is EMA 10 on the 5-minute chart? Yes. Cool Brioche. Sorry, I should probably clarify that from time to time for the newer viewers. When I say 10 EMA on the 5, I mean the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. That's what I mean. I should clarify that. Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Bovin. Roma. Bovin says Roma is moving up, Assassino. Let's have a quick look here. Oh my days, the breakout is on. Roma is freaking out. So let's put in ROMA on the side chart so we can take a gander. This is up 37% and change, 723 high. Very light though, geez Louise, on volume. We haven't even barely finished a quarter milli shares on the day, but it may be picking up volume now. So gonna keep an eye out on that. And shout out to our new mod, man. Shout out to Bravely. He's our new mod. If you've been with us for a while, you remember Bears versus Bulls. Now it's Bravely. Shout out to him. Thank you for that, Bravely. He's tagging you and I. He's like, people on TikTok are asking about UPS. They're asking about Meta. How about Pfizer, Broadcom? I love all those names except UPS. I think UPS is hot garbage, and I wouldn't touch it with something. I don't want to kind of.
You just say someone else's money.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like it. My mom had a super bad experience with her iPhone shipping through UPS. Did I tell you about that? It was lost. If it wasn't for the great company of Apple, which I have a lot of money in, they would not, her phone wouldn't be there. Apple took care of it. Apple sent her a new phone. Apple dealt with UPS. UPS gave her a gesture that we can do on her hand.
Oh, yeah?
And she got nothing from
this
them.
one?
No.
Oh.
No, not that one.
All right.
But nice.
I mean, we're hella long Apple.
Yeah.
Busting, man. Come on, man.
You saw that?
Yeah,
I was about to unblock that,
man.
but we can't unblock that.
one
Busting,
there.
man. Come on, man. You're killing me.
I mean, we'll just leave it at that there, brother. Aside from that, we're just adding here. Someone said, hey, man, why don't you guys ever talk about silver or gold? Silver and gold. We can do that right now. You know that song?
Of course. It's
what's it from,
song.
then? I don't even know, to be honest with you. That was a genuine question.
Yeah, isn't it like one of those Christmas carols?
Probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, because the three wise men.
Shout out
obviously.
Christmas, man. And to the people who have yet to take down their Christmas tree, I mean, if there's anybody still in there. But silver, guys, let's see what we got going on. We got to change this up here. We'll head over to the settings. We're going to get it over here to the extended hours and see what we got going on SLV as it's slowly starting to curl over. We have that curl over happening right now on AMDL. I'm more than happy to add some more size. So I just went full position right again, looking for that breakdown. If we're fortunate enough to get one, the market is slowly grinding. And we have to see what this name is going to be up to. Strong session yesterday, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe we kind of just give a little bit of that move back, and that's kind of been the narrative. This was a steady up grind yesterday, and a strong channel, and then now we're starting to pull back in. I just think it's going to take some time, right? So we're in a little bit early, but if we continuously move side and then we get that turtle shell type price action, then we're ready to rock and roll. Same thing here with Tesla. Could take a short here, but I want to get closer to the top end of this wick, right? Because this is a nice inverted hammer candle. It's just prolonging this move maybe. And then we also have a consolidation. So a pretty quiet Friday. And I think that any large participants can step in depending on which direction they want to go. Obviously, can really start to move some price. We have a super chat. Pull it up there. We have two super chats, to be honest with you. We have one from our Danny boy. Okay, we'll go over Nick's first. Can you look, Sharif, can you look at VKTX looking for a move to 36, consolidating on support? And then we also have a $2 super chat from our boy, Danny Boy, Bear Market Bingo. Okay, bingo. I know who loses the 2026 Trader TV pie eating contest. I wonder. I truly don't know who would lose that one there. But aside from that,
I bet you'd probably do pretty good.
Yeah, I would.
I think you would, because it's just food, right?
It's just
like
food,
you just be like, all right, I don't like this, but I'll eat it.
Yeah, you know, it's like if I were to.
But I haven't seen you with like a huge appetite, though. You're not the guy that strikes me like.
No, I get full. I get full easy, man. I get full. I get full. Like I eat a little bit, and then I'm just like.
You're full. I'm full. But you eat multiple times a day. You got
3 times a day. Yeah, 3 times.
3?
Yeah, well, I have a little breakfast.
5,
you eat 5 times a day? Yeah, well, I mean, you need that protein. 3? Like, why'd you say 3? Like, that is in the, I think that's the normal.
It is. I don't mean to hate.
Yeah, I mean, 3 times is good enough for me, man. Gym, 8 o'clock in the evening, come back, crush a little bit.
How is the gym ever since?
Good, man. I do like leg extension, like no weight though on the leg extension.
Yeah,
been doing. You know what I have been doing though? Farmers carries.
Yeah.
That's
That's a little pressure on the legs though, because you're weighting it down.
40s.
That's still good,
right? You know what I mean?
Good. All right, guys, let's get to VKTX. Thank you very much, Nick Dubb, for the $2 super chat. Look, this is one that I really did like. I like what their product pipeline. I always kind of viewed them as a possible buyout candidate, especially with the Trump administration kind of being a bit more favorable to these, mergers, acquisitions, buyouts. But that really hasn't been the case, man. And, even when we did get a big pop-up there, when was that? That was August of last year. it wasn't sustained. So Nick, I got to tell you, we're still within that range, this holding pattern. For the most part, it seems like the buyers step in and around 25. There are outlying areas, as you can see, but that's a tariff tantrum, right? We can't really look at the tariff tantrum with the same lens that we view everything else. So I would say $25 support, and if it makes its way down there in and around 25, I'd be a buyer with maybe a stop below the tariff tantrum low at below 20. And then you can kind of see most of the prints, not all, they do reject 40. Again, you have a couple of outlying areas. So you have a bit of $15 range, and I would work around that $15 range if I were you, right? Of course, you know, you're probably looking at this one for a lot higher of a move, you know, because this one was almost at $100. But the fact of the matter is, this is an unbroken lower high trend. So, you know, as much as I do like it, as much as the current economic environment, or sorry, political environment is conducive to my thesis here of buyouts, it hasn't happened, and we haven't had any higher highs. So I would kind of go back, $25, put an order there. Maybe if it's a swing, you're wetting your beak at 40. But if it's an investment, you're obviously holding for longer. Thank you very much, Nick, for the $2 or whatever. How much did he super there? $5. Pardon me. Super chat. Anna, new high day, 738. Here we go again on ANNA. So let's have a look now. We're going to flip to the 5. We've got a seller here in the high 30s. It's a 38 penny high, but the breakout is on. We've got higher lows, and now we've got higher highs. It looks like it's respecting, for the most part here, the 10 EMA on the 5-second chart. There it is, right into 7.25, and then back up into highs. It could take out 738 here. We're showing 35s. There it is, 39. Looking for continuation. There's none yet. 40s flash momentarily there. So ANNA, Alena Incorporated, it's really rocketing up here. I'd say this is the best of the bunch in the world of small cap gappers right now. But trade it carefully because, as you can see, it's quite volatile. Get yourself a plan, set up the plan, execute the plan, and yeah, follow the plan. Thank you very much, Data Robertson, for the $2 super chat, but no comment attached to that. But thank you, Data Robertson N5S, for that. Buvin, I know you don't like LNAI for now, but it held 46, trying to curl up. I see that, Buvin. It rejected VWAP, though. I don't know if you saw where that topping tail candle on LNAI, bottom left to your screen there, guys. There is a candle, pops up into VWAP. Look, Buvin, if it starts giving me that rounded bottom in an attempt into VWAP, maybe we'll breach our rules for a scalp or two, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see on LNAI, but for the moment, I think it's a little undecided. Thank you, Buvin, for pointing that out. We got to pause for a second. We're going to see you for news.
Yeah, just a couple of updates here from the White House. A White House official has been saying that the U.S. Army is capable of seizing Iran's Kursk Island at any time, and U.S. rejected Putin's offer for Iran-Ukraine quid pro quo, according to sources at Politico. Sending it back to you.
Anticipate the Americans taking them up on that offer. It shifts the balance of power there. If Putin starts making demands about Ukraine, then that obviously changes the negotiations that are ongoing, which seem to be on hold for the ending of that European war. I didn't anticipate President Trump taking that deal. We'll have to wait and see. Anything can change. President Trump can, he can maneuver. He can change his mind in a second.
Yeah, so. Yeah. The thing about this Iran, obviously Israel, that Hezbollah is involved in this. I think it's going to go on significantly longer than what people are actually anticipating. You'll see a cool down, but I mean, it's not the nature of the beast of people just stopping after a couple of weeks or after a couple of months. You'll just have that ongoing odd attack here and there and stuff. So which can go on for extended period of time. Like think about how long Hamas and Israel have been just sending rockets at each other, right? Like you have the audit, you have the heated the core of things, and then sure enough, after that, it's just those one-off events essentially. And I think that's the narrative.
It'd be nice not to see anybody get killed in the Middle East for just a couple of months. Be nice.
It'd be anywhere.
It'd be nice.
It'd be cool, if that stuff cooled down in Russia. Or in Ukraine. It's just everybody chill out for a little bit here, and then you know what I mean. Do something. See ya.
Yeah, I have an update on Chevron. HSBC has upgraded Chevron to a buy rating from a hold rating, and it has emphasized that investors should consider buying the energy giant due to the fact that its Middle East exposure is now lower than its rivals. So HSBC's price target of is of $215, which was raised from $180. Now, this implies a 7% upside from yesterday's close. Here's a quote from them. We prefer Chevron to Exxon, giving its unusually deep discount on 2026 EVDACF, which is 12%, lower Middle East exposure, and higher balance sheet gearing, which offers more leverage to rising commodity prices. Analyst Kim Fustier has written, and shares of Chevron have surged 32% this year. Currently, Chevron is down 0.72%.
Great information, Sia. Thank you for that. Yeah, and USO is up 2.5. But have you seen the disconnect lately, Joey, between Brent and WTI?
Yeah. What's up with that?
Yeah, because WTI is still flowing, right? I mean, that's West Texas Intermediate, and Brent is obviously mostly from the Middle East, and it's interesting. I wonder if there's an ARB there. I wonder if energy traders, oil traders are all over that, right? An
I would think so.
Probably, right?
Like, think about what happened. I mean, from like kind of a micro standpoint, look what happened with ZSL and silver that one time.
Point. Remember that?
Remember?
Yeah, that was a trade. I remember that. And Neil, he was all over that. I remember when it actually broke. That was intense. Guys, continue.
Yeah, Iran equals Persia. I don't know if people still say Persia.
Pardon me?
Well, someone said Iran equals Persia.
Yeah. I don't call my Iranian friends Iranian. I call them Persian. Yeah, that's what they refer to themselves as.
Do they?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Maybe they get a little name switch back to Persia.
And I'm reading the Old Testament now. I've been reading the Old Testament for a while. Nehemiah, right? I just finished Ezra. Yeah. And it's the Persian Empire now, right? That dominates that whole area. So it's like Persian King Cyrus, Darius, I forget the other dude, Artash.
It's King Darius. Yeah,
Darius. There was Cyrus before him, right?
I like Darius. Darius gets killed in a marathon, doesn't he?
I have no idea.
Fact check me, Chad. Darius does get killed in marathon.
Yes, thank you, MF Dangerous. Artaxerxes. Yes, thank you, Artaxerxes. Yeah, that's actually in Ezra. And the Nehemiah as well. All right, guys, here we go, man. Into the high goes Anna, 757. I ain't talking about the plane either. High of day, dealing with that $0.50 area, guys. Let's keep an eye on Anna. This is not done yet. I don't think it's done by a long shot. There it goes into the high of the day again, into 59. We're still dealing with a bit of tug of war between buyers and sellers at the $0.50, completely normal. Anna's on the way to 100%. Look, if we get into this 7.5 and we start touching 8, there's a really good chance that we get into the upper 9s, if not 10. So, you know, if you really love these small cap gappers, you got to be in your seat to take these trades, because I don't think this one's done yet. So we're going to be definitely looking at this. I think the rest of the show, quite frankly, I don't like anything else, which is good because it helps me focus on one of these. And I don't think I'm gonna be switching to anything else. Trying to set up a trade now that fits my risk to reward parameters, and then we'll get back to you guys on that. So keeping an eye here on Anna, Joey.
Good stuff there. Darius is my. All right, Jay Lee, man, come on, brother. I know a couple of Darius as well, too. But no, here it is, guys. We got that ad. You get a little bit of a breakdown to 12:22, and then let's see if we're going to get that curl. I told you guys about the time that it's going to take. I'm still looking at Tesla here, Gorev. I mean, if it blows past this high, then we'll just get out of Dodge on that one. Steady uptrend right now, and we don't want to go against the grain. So if the market wants to continue its grind higher, then by all means, we don't want to stand in front of it, especially if NVDA decides that it wants to have a recovery in the latter half of the session. So we'll be patient, not looking too good on that ad here on AMD. That's all right. We'll just lock in what we have, and then maybe we'll be fortunate enough to get that curl over that we're looking for. I'll even double it up more just because I'm feeling that type of way. Shout out to Rich Homie Kwan. Well, let's add VWAP here so we can get a little bit of a better picture of where we're actually kind of headed, and then some potential resistance zones, which can actually come into play right now. And the exact same thing here with the king of the chips. It's below VWAP, boom, 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 king of inference, I guess we can call him. So yeah, I mean, we're not quite there yet. I like our chances for an additional leg lower. I thought we would, if we were going to recover, it'd be a little bit quicker than what we're experiencing right now. I've got my eyes on Tesla. It's starting to, the risk to reward is starting to really increase, guys, and that's what we want to look for. Instead of selling VWAP, you have this inverted hammer, so we could just break down this candle, and we talk about how each individual one can tell its own story, is that eventually what we had is buyers push price all the way up to 377, and they push it down to 374 on that volatility spike. So that's $3 approximately. And then now we're just a slow grind. So if there's anything that's about to curl over, then that's when it's going to be our time to try to take advantage of a move back into VWAP. But if this signal is exposed and broken, then that means as soon as we breach that high, it's no longer valid. All right, so patience on this one. We're still slightly in the money, but not by much. My average is up here. We removed 90% of it, and that's where you're going to see that increase of my previous average, or a decrease from my previous average of 12.50 all the way down to 12.30. All right, guys, it's that time. The favorite segment of the day, Neil with his lesson of the day.
Hey, welcome everybody. So here's the lesson of the day. I think one of the interesting things is, you know, it's all well and good to have a plan, and everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth or whatever it is, or until the market opens. And that assumes that you have a direct plan that I am going to buy X stock at X price. But you know what? Sometimes your plan isn't that specific. I'll give you an example, because I was looking at it today, and I realized that it wasn't super specific. I knew what I wanted to look at, and I only traded, actually it's weird, I ended up oddly enough trading the 4 names that I had on my list. Usually I'll have a few things that come out of the middle of nowhere, but I did trade in this morning show. It was IBIT, Boyle, SMCI, and SoFi. It actually worked out that way. Usually it doesn't. But IBIT, it was held 70K. I was doing an over-under play at that 39.75. I guess I'll start with that. Like, that's not a very specific strategy. It's, I know what the stock price I'm looking for to trade off of, and I'll give myself a B even though it was a 1-for-1 shot. So I know the stock price I wanted to look at, and I knew what I liked it for, resistance to support. It ends up being right around here, about the 70,000 mark. So when it bounced off of 40,000, this is what I mean about not super specific. It held 70,000 on Bitcoin here, gets back above the price that I like, and holds. So that's where we grab the long. It doesn't continue. So notice how I don't really try any other longs. What I would say to this is the other side of that trade is once we are now clearly holding underneath on trend, there was probably some kind of short that I can be looking for, like a trend break in here. But it was more of, I know the area under which it's in and around here, where if I see strength over this, I want long. That presented itself once. The only point after the open where there was strength above that line was here. I could try to weasel my way in and tell you it was there, but it's not, because that's lower high. If it could have rounded out there could have been something over here, but it wasn't. You don't have to be super specific, and that's why I only traded it the one time. Now, SoFi was also one of those. I'm going to jump to the bottom of the list here because I don't feel it's necessary to go through all 4. Like SoFi there's a clear double bottom at 1655 after the muddy waters. Look for longs off of that level. Does it get to 1655? No, there's our double bottom, but I'm looking for longs. So I don't get that. What I do get is a bounce before, which is fine because you can just try other entry strategies. Bottoming tail wick and the trend reversal back into the high. Now, I would make the argument that it got probably a little bit too bearish on the market and did not end up taking this one. I was looking at something else. This one I didn't love for some reason. Then looking for long to me always means if it trends off of VWAP, take the VWAP bounce on the trend line. So there's a test of the high of the day. There's the VWAP pullback. I like that play. Play it into the prior close, which we said we would. And then that's where you find the other trade. Neither one of those, like that one was kind of specific, but it didn't get to 1655. But that doesn't matter. You can still have your entry point anyways, as long as you've got that plan of action. The strength showed up in front of the place that I wanted buyers to be, confirming what my thesis was. So you look for some kind of a trade setup entry that goes with it. I'll do one more because SMCI, you know, I like that mean reversion, SSR bounce kind of play, right? Like it's going to be down double digits. You look for it to fail a low or break a trend. And admittedly here, you know, this one I have to slap the absolute fail on, because generally speaking, the first bounce is the one on a panic day down over 20% that you want to get, and I didn't. Like I ended up going for this trend break, which doesn't hold. You could make an argument this double bottom could have given you something right in there, fair enough, but this is the one that you want. Like instead of taking it, and you could argue also, of course, that you should have it, that I would probably have this both times, right? So I would have been 1 for 2 anyways, even if I had gotten this. But it's not super specific, but I know what it is, and it resembles a failed break of the low. There's the open, there's a false break of the low, there's a trend break, and it goes to VWAP. It's not an A+ setup because you're going long on one of the weakest stocks out there, but it's in that solid like B+ to A- range for setups for me. And I was not looking at that stock because in that moment, as I showed you, SoFi, and then we also had Boyle, that was the other name in the list, but we went over the energy, so you guys don't need to see that again. And of course, IBIT. And you can only do 1 or 2 at a time. But what I'm trying to get at is it does show you that you can have a plan that doesn't need to be, and I'll just pull up a random stock. Like it doesn't need to be, I'm going long on Tesla at $370. And, oh great, it got there and I got my, but what if your notion on Tesla was, let's pull out the daily chart here. What if your notion on Tesla is, see this prior high, 368, and this breakout price, it's around 370. What if your notion was, on a loss of the 200 period moving average, I'm gonna look for a bounce in front of that level, right? That's a little bit more open-ended technically, but there's lots of ways you could have gotten into this. Now for myself, I can easily tell you, once it puts in, well, I drew that poorly, once it puts in that top, I didn't do the best drawing that line, you got the idea. You could go for a trend break, which probably would occur somewhere over here, and it happens in front of the level on the daily. There's an actual trend entry. You could have your stop underneath, and then you play it off of VWAP. Then you could also have the VWAP continuation play. You're just looking for a long setup so long as that level holds. You don't have to actually buy it just sitting on the bid in front. Because the example I'll use here is, what if the number that you had in mind was $372? Well, if it was, you'd be in a world of hurt. But if you waited for a long setup at 372, let's just say, well then maybe you've got this long instead of getting rinsed here. Having an idea that's just buy stock at this price, when it works, it's fantastic. But also understand, you're going to be arbitrarily sometimes just buying it and getting run over for no necessary reason. But if it does set up in front of your price, you can grab a trading strategy entry, bottoming tail wick, trend reversal, consolidation, that gives you the confluence that you're looking for. So you don't have to have such a very specific notion of what has to happen in the stock for you to win on it. You just need something that leads you in the direction that you like, that gives you a trade setup where you can have good risk to reward, and then you execute the trade with confidence. So there's your lesson of the day. Man, the sandwiches, it was chicken and coleslaw, and bread was whole wheat, fresh bread. It was delicious. I'm giving it an 8.8 out of 10. Easy. I haven't finished my salad, but it was a great lunch today. We're having a fun one. Good luck, everyone. Hopefully the market will get a bit of a bounce. I know it hasn't been the best day for the market, but there has meant some good opportunities.
How was the sandwich, Neil?
8.8.
8.8. All right, Assassino, you're good to go, brother. Do your thing. All right, guys, Anna is... I don't know. Look, I took a quick scalp while Neil was doing the lesson of the day. There was no follow through. There was a seller at $7.15 on Anna. I think it fooled some people because it did pop up to 18s, but there was no continuation. So, you know, once I saw that, I got the hell out of there. I think I had 99s. I had 699 or something like that. I picked it up on, let me bring in my, my 5 second. I picked it up on this dip, and you know, we popped up into 15, and I sold the rest, I think, at 12s or 13s or something like that. But it's on a bit of a pullback, and most notably, it's preceded, the pullback is being preceded by this topping tail candle. Now, you are getting bought back up against, or you're being bought up above the 10 EMA and above $7. But you still have 3 lower highs in a row. 2 lower highs, pardon me, preceded by topping tail inverse hammer candle. So let's watch a little bit more. I mean, we've got another 2 minutes or so on this 5-minute candle. What I'd like to see is both these bad boys here, the 12 o'clock candle and the 12:05 candle, both hold above the 10 EMA on the 5, and by extension of that, the $7 area. If it doesn't, it's going to need to set up a little bit differently. Let's look at the multi-time frame look here on ANNA. So as you know, we're doing the multi-time frame kind of situation. So bottom left, 15, top left, 1, top right, 5, bottom right, 1 hour.
Gotta listen to that song now. No, Annie, are you okay?
Yes, that's not bad. That's actually not bad at all. So the 15 looks as if, we're putting in higher lows on the 15. You're not necessarily seeing that on the 5 because we did breach prior bar low. So let's look for the multi-time frame confirmation here. 6 to 6.5 is a buy area on the 15. That's, of course, predicated upon failing the $7 area. So just to give you an idea here, prior bar low on the 15 takes us down to 681. Current bar low on the 15, 687, which is what I mean when I say we have a higher low on the 15. So let's flip back to the 5-second chart on this monster. Take a gander at what the trend is. Yeah, still putting in lower highs and, definitely rejecting that 15 area. We can't shake the seller at 15, which is fine. We're going to pack the patience. We're here all day. We're not, but you know what I mean. We've got nowhere to go for now. No problem, SSE. No, everything is good. I was just talking naturally there. Let's bring in the other side charts. And Bovin and Cool Brioche and the other gang, we're pointing out new ones here. And I want to bring your attention to them. There's Roma. I need you guys to be careful with Roma, though, because it's awfully spready. And the volume is dropping off, not like it had much to begin with. ROMA is the ticker. It's up about 34%, give or take. The other one that Bovin brought to my attention, DRMA. This had a big breakout yesterday in the aftermarket. Let's throw in the ticker so everybody can follow along. This one started breaking out, looks like at around 4 o'clock, maybe an earnings name, maybe it's not. I don't really care. I'm trading the technicals. What I do know, though, Bovin, is that we're not above the pre-market high, sadly. The pre-market high, 167.5. What is this stupid thing doing? Stay over here. Don't go anywhere. 167.5. Not like we didn't breach it here. We got into about 167. So I think if we take out that 1 2/3 area, we're definitely going to be on something here on drama. But the volume, look, it's still a little light. It's not bad. Like when you go over these volume bars, just to give you an example, the 1205 candle has about 461,000 shares. Prior candle, 280,000. So it's not exactly the volume king over here, but we're going to keep it on the side chart. If it sets up in a good way, we'll get involved. LNAI is doing bupkis. VG is right back at that resistance level. Remember, we were talking about that 1575. It's a great looking pattern for a flat top break, but it's got to manifest into the actual flat top, and then the break, which is currently not doing at the moment. So going to steer clear. Brian Stone 5. Sharif, how do you know when it's a hot small cap market? That's a great question, brother. I've struggled with a different question, but to answer yours first, if there's a lot running, if I'm looking at my scanner and there's a bunch, that are either up triple digits or high double digits, 80, 90, 75%, whatever, you can kind of get the idea right away. The small caps are in play. What I've struggled with, Brian, though, is knowing when there's continuation. So, we're doing well this week, right? But last week, I went 2 for 5. And because there were 3 days where I pushed heavy and there was no continuation on all of them. They'd get into technical levels, pullbacks, which is what I wait for, 10 EMA, VWAP, price action support, and it would fail. It wouldn't hold those levels. Today and basically all week, we've been seeing continuation. They come into levels and they bounce off those levels, or they'll continue higher, like we've seen with the multiple IPOs that halted to no end over the last few days. Shout out to KC526, right? So that's the question that I struggled with. I find the easier question is to know whether there's a lot of small caps running. That's just a matter of looking at your scanner. If there's a lot going, well, then you kind of have your answer there. So shout out to my man there, Brian. Thank you for the question. DLV Sound, Sharif, please check SATL for a short. Let's have a quick look at SATL. See what that one is up to. By the way, Anna's breaking down now, so it's probably on the way back to 6.5. We're going to get to that one in a second. So SATL up 13 4/5. It's breaking down though. This is a good looking short here. Okay, this is a good short. Sorry?
No, I'm talking to myself here.
What I would say here, DLV Sound. Let me just throw in the ticker on SATL. My suggestion on this is as follows. look, you can try to get in here for, you know, the breakdown into the $0.50, maybe even go right on the day at around the $0.25 break even, or you can wait for an attempt to reclaim VWAP. So we're at, well, say 375. It's showing 373 now. You know, this one's may attempt to pop back in to the mid 80s, maybe even the high 80s, low 90s, attempt a reclaim of VWAP to test that lower trend line as well. And that's where you get short for the reattempt to claim VWAP, and, you know, the shorts step in quite aggressively there. So SATL, not a bad one. It looks like it's fading. It's below VWAP. It's below this area low. It's making lower highs. It's making lower lows. So you've got the right idea here. I like that. But, you know, there are a couple of ways you can look at it. You can get in here, give it to maybe look on the 15, look on the 5, give it to prior bar high, or you can wait for the retest of the volume weighted average price. Day trading. You should use our tool, Sharif. It measures the level of runners and highs. Hold on. Day trading. I'm pretty sure. Luis, is that you? Is that Luis? Day trading? Because that is. I'm pretty sure that's Luis Barbado. Luis, let me know if that's you or somebody else in the office.
Our tool. So
yeah, exactly. Because he sent you and I an email, I think a couple of days ago, explaining the tool.
Yeah, he did.
So I just want to confirm.
He's free, man. It's free Fridays.
Of course I am. It is, Luis.
Yeah, hop on, brother.
I'm so stupid.
Should we get Luis on right now? It's Friday.
Well, he's probably trading, man.
Well, I mean, he's in the chat.
Well, I know.
Yeah, he's in the chat.
Luis, thank you for that, Luis. I've been actually planning on learning. So what I wanted to do, Luis, was I wanted to go back to not this week, but the prior week when you explained to us how to use the tools. I was actually earmarking time on the weekend to go and look through all of that. I have access to it. Thank you so much, Luis, by the way. We definitely want to shout out Luis Barbado, man. I didn't know that was you, Luis. Thank you. It actually made sense once you said that. And I think you guys are going to love having Luis in the chat, man, because he is one knowledgeable man. Thank you very much.
He said he's waiting for you to show you how to use it. All right, guys, let's take a look at something I'm just working on. We don't really go over this often, but I'm curious to you guys. I know there's individuals in the chat who are using DAS and everything else, but do you look at what gateway you want to use? I know we talk about Sean having his favorite ARCA. That is, I believe that Neil likes Edge A, Edge X. Me, I'm all about Frex right now. If you don't have smart routing, I really like this one. I never knew that was a gateway, but this is one of my favorite right here. It's just like punch, it gets you in right away. It'll cross multiple gateways, and that's kind of what I'm on right now. Memex, never really used this or anything along those lines, so let me know, guys. What are you actually using? Oh, they have smart? Oh my God. Neil, do you use smart routing? He's not listening. He's focused right now. All right, anyways, aside from that, guys, SMRT, yeah, everything is getting changed to this. Where's Obi? I need to talk to Obi here about smart routing here. This is I think in my opinion, never mind all this. You could just set your hotkeys if you do have to set up your gateways, SMRT all day. See ya.
Yeah, just a quick update here. That Google is now the first cloud provider to integrate 1 gigawatts of flexible demand into long-term utility contracts, and Google is down 1.6% at the moment.
Very much for that. So yeah, we'll take a look at. Okay, so I got to change all that stuff. I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to add one more time over here as long as we continuously kind of bounce off of this. We're slowly starting to get that turtle shell. I'm averaging into this. I'm okay with that because we have a little bit of room to free roll and everything along those lines. Excuse me. So yeah, moving forward, there goes USO, new high of the day. Borav, are you long this one? Because if you are, then congratulations to you. Tesla's still holding up. Hasn't broken that candle yet, guys. So watch out for a curl over here as well. But if AMD, the one thing that we don't have in our favor right now is this. Right? So you have that steady uptrend. This trend line seems relatively strong. The ask and the bid is slowly getting lifted, and then we bounce right off the lower end of it. That's why I'm just going to wait for things to curl around. USO, we're starting to lose that kind of that inverse correlation between USO and the NASDAQ. It just shows you that the market doesn't really care anymore at this point. It's like, yeah, we'll fluctuate oil and everything along those lines, everybody who's involved with it. But as for the actual NASDAQ, they're like, yeah, all right, this is old news. What's the next thing essentially moving up here? And there goes Tesla about to breach reached the high of the day. And it's tough. On these days, if you're looking to go short, and this is just me thinking out loud, is just the fact that you have these breakdowns, but then they're immediately bought back up. So you have the larger participants going, okay, we're going to just form a channel here today. But we'll turn on that buy algo. Any dip, just buy it back up and we'll grind. And then you and myself, who are looking for the continuation in the short, it's just like, yeah, this isn't going to happen until we decide to turn them off. It's not necessarily us being like, all right, shorts are dominating. They're just, the buy programs have been turned off. I noticed that too just now. It says Hangry Wife. Yeah. I mean, it's just like climbing higher, right? So they don't care anymore. They're like, all right, that's old news. We're still out of the money on this one. But yeah, other than that, what do you think about a short on the NASDAQ? I don't think it's a good play right now, even though I'm short AMD. I think you want to go with the flow. We just went over the basic trend lines here, right? So consistent uptrends there. And then now we're heading into the volume weighted average price. You have USO climbing higher, but we haven't breached this. So there's no point in us thinking about going short. There's nothing telling us that we need to go short until the sellers really step in and move price lower. And I don't think that's going to be the narrative on today's session. It's just giving me that vibe. As long as we knock on this, I don't know. I have to wait maybe for an ad on the backside of this because I often talk about this and have been for the past couple of days, is that I'm anticipating, not participating, and then that's when you can start to get a little bit frustrated and be like, hey, why isn't it moving? Well, you're not going with the flow, that's why. And that's why sometimes the reverse or the retracement plays, the pullback plays are a little bit more difficult. So I would say no to that. Right? Like I would totally say no to a short until you have that flat base. You see that there's a clear supply zone in an overhead perspective. You reject, you've touched it multiple times, and then you slowly start to form more of those lower highs. All right, so that's my narrative. Just buy shares. I mean, if it were only that simple, it's not that simple. So, anyways, aside from that, guys, let's move forward and head back over to our watch list. We have some names, nothing substantial. We'll go over the Meg 7 to see how they're acting, and this is what I'm talking about. It's like, hey, do we short the Qs? Why are you going to short the Qs when you have NVDA grinding higher, breaking through resistance? Low volume, though, right? You have Apple at the high of the day, roughly. Oh. You have Microsoft starting to climb a little bit higher. Then you have Goggles starting to climb a little bit higher. Then you have Meta, Broadcom, Tesla. And it's just like, do you think it's truly going to work when the heaviest weighted names are moving to the top side and you're thinking about going short on the NASDAQ? No. That's why you have to pay attention when you're trading the Qs, is that there's so many variables that come into play. It makes it a little bit more difficult at times, because if they're all not moving in tandem, then that's when you get that chop and that push and pull effect within the underlying asset itself. Amazon, what have you been doing here? Not much, right? So AMD not looking too good for your boy as it's continuing to grind a little bit higher.
All right, man. I want to shout out Luis for this great trade. This is CODX. And this is a hell of a short. Shout out to you, Luis, because this looked awfully bullish, right? I mean, you get a whole bunch, a plethora of higher highs, higher lows. You definitely see the intentions of the shorts on Codex. At least, that's my humble submission here. And the way that I make that assessment is look how many topping tail candles we have on all these candles to make new highs. I mean, the 8 a.m., the 8:05, huge topping tail. It doesn't change. 8:20, 8:25, monster topping tails. And the one that really topped everything off is that 8:50 candle that got up to 4:05. You get that consolidative move. You get down to VWAP. This is the candle that bamboozled everybody and their mother. Look at this. So, comes back to VWAP. You're putting in some higher lows. It looks like you're curling here. You're doing that rounding shape off the volume weighted average price. You breach prior bar high by a nice amount, right? Prior bar high on the 925 candle was 387. The one at 930 got to 394. So we're on the way into 4. Then all hell broke loose. It loses VWAP, and it's basically a short all the way down, now negative on the day, trading below 265, which was the close. So great trade by Luis on CODX. What a move down. And I need to start spotting these a lot better. And I really do anticipate, Luis coming on the show. He's going to explain how to, Joseph and I, really how to use his tools even better than the way that he explained to us last time. We do appreciate that, Luis, of course. But what a move down here on CODX, because there's going to be a time a lot of times, in fact, where, you know, the longs are going to be crap for these small cap gappers, right? And we want to be able to go both ways. And I had a good short on one yesterday. I was kind of proud of it, but still very much the exception as opposed to the rule for me with some of these small cap gappers. So thanks for him for that. I want to mention drama. Bovin, you called it, brother. I think Cool Brioche as well. DRMA taking out pre-market high. This is now a good look. Remember, we had that 167.5, 630 high, and then we tried to take it out at around noon. We got down to 167, but that was just, I guess, maybe the prelude for what was going to happen next. 170 high. Now we're about almost 40% in Greensville. Going to keep an eye here on drama as we see Anna take a bit of a more prolonged pullback. Let's go ahead and put DRMA. You taking off? Oh, I thought you were waving or something. My bad. I thought you were waving goodbye. DRMA, let's have a look at this one. So 1 penny spread looks fantastic, up 38% as I mentioned. Here are the levels as I perceive them. Let's, sorry, one sec. Let me just set that up like this. Good. So now let's look at drama here on the not the 5 second. Yeah, let me flip to the 5 second chart, DRMA. So I can kind of spot the support area and resistance area locally. 5 seconds, there we go, good. All right, it's not a volume king at the moment. I'm talking about DRMA, but it's doing all right. 18 million shares on a $1 name, which is not that high. Look, there's a buyer here at around 65. I also believe there's a great buyer at 55. So it's really the 5 penny levels here. Let's see, there was certainly a little bit of resistance at 60. Now it looks like the buyers are stepping in at a little bit lower than the 2/3 of a dollar. Let's see if we can get something on this. So let's load up the old risk calculator. And let's see exactly what this situation is going to be on this one. So we want to risk a little bit over here. Let's go ahead and put in that. And our entry price, let's just say 168, give it, and then we have to give it to 159, right? Because that has to be a little bit of room. Sounds good, sounds good. We're going to go ahead with that. Let's see what we can do on this one. So right back close to the area high here on DRMA. Let's give this one the old college try. I'm going to give it to, as I mentioned, 159. So let's go ahead and throw that in. And in case it really gets a little bit down, we want to be ready for this one to come against us. So here are the levels on the 5-minute chart on DRMA. So we have current bar low, which takes us into, I believe, 64. So we did technically breach 65, but we've been bought back up. And then prior bar low, which is substantially south here, takes us to about 56. I don't know why it's not letting me do that. Let's flip to the multi-time frame and then see if I can get a better look here. So prior bar low, yeah, 156. Current bar low, 164. So we're definitely in a nice uptrend, right? But this one does have a bit of propensity for topping tails, so be careful with that. Like I'm talking about on the 5-minute chart, 1205 topping tail candle, 1220 topping tail candle. So something to be alert to here. Now, you could be a bit more risk averse with this because you are getting in at highs. You could give it to, you know, current bar low, which takes you down to 64. When you do that though, you subject yourselves to, you know, price volatility. It dips down because there's an area of illiquidity, then gets bought right back up. And, you know, that gets to be quite a frustrating trade when that happens. So let's go ahead, set up some profit takers here. Let's see what we can get on this. I'm looking for 75s. Let's see if we can get above the high of the day. We're at the high of the day. There's 71, there's 72. Looking for continuation now into 75, up 41%. Right? But we know that this one has a tendency to do topping tail candles. So there may be price volatility on the way up here. So going to keep an eye out on that, and we'll report back to you, hopefully with some good news.
Good stuff, good stuff. All right, guys, let's get right into things here. There's a lot going on. Bounce off a trend line right here at AMD. NVDA rejects the volume-weighted average price, starting to curl right back over. What happens? We were talking about not too long ago, hey, are you going to be looking to short the Qs? Well, good call on that individual. Hopefully sometimes it's just better off to just go with your own instinct because I'm like, we're climbing higher, but now it seems like we have some sellers starting to step in. If AMD sits on the backside of this trend, a retest of this, we're adding more. So we'll triple up our position on this one for the attempt of that turtle shell type price action, and then maybe we'll get a move a little bit lower into the 200s. Now let's see how we react on the NASDAQ right on this trend line. We have that touch. We have multiple touches, so we know that we can consider this in play, right? This trend line, that is. If it breaks and then you have a 5-minute candle on the backside of it, then guess what? Maybe we will see some more downside. So to the individual who's talking short the Qs, way to call that because the buying pressure has slowly started to cool off. Now we're slightly ITM on this one. We add here. But what I really want to do is add more right around here, just around my average, so then we can get that curl over. If the momentum picks up and we start to slide, then so be it. I'm happy with what we got here. I'm not going to complain about it whatsoever. How much size? Oh, okay, yeah. So, I mean, that's not bad. This is double what I had as the initial starter, and this is going to be the anticipation of leg 2. Now, 12.26, we had some shares left from this remaining. We wait for that 3-to-1 price target to come into play, the risk to reward. We take some off, we come back. I only did this transaction for the folks back home, AKA you guys, so that you can see what my average price was. I added, using unrealized, we bounce off of the volume weighted average price, we add some more. So as long as we chop around in this zone and fail to establish a new high here, therefore creating a lower high, we're gonna add even more to it. So then it'll be by far the largest position outside of this, even though we're already a little bit bigger. All right. Our guy, Adam James, best week in 2026. Peace and love, peeps. Time for R&R. Healing some pain naturally. Have a beautiful weekend, everyone. Baldy and Gooner. All right, then. Yeah, I mean, I heard you in the hospital.
Bro.
Yeah, I know. I heard
he
you
put
was in
a
the
new
hospital.
video out. Yeah,
he never really said why.
No.
So, yeah, I don't know, man.
I hope you're good, Adam.
Yeah,
man.
so do I. Making too much money over there, and to be honest with you, he's going to Florida and stuff like that. So it's hard for me to sympathize for this guy because he's in El Salvador, he's over in Florida, living the life of Riley over there. Our friend Adam James. All right, guys, right back into AMDL. As we're almost 10 cents ITM on this name, we're still negative on the day. This is 2x leverage. We're negative 3.3, so we're around 115, down 1.15% here. It's Tom. Yo, Tom, what's up, brother? How you doing? I hope everything's good. We didn't get to hang out last summer, obviously, but that's pretty cool to see you in the chat, man. And I mean, you can text me anytime because Tom Q has my number. There it goes, another move lower, Tom. We're short AMDL. We were short AMD from this morning. We take some out here, and then we added on multiple occasions as the market is slowly starting to curl over, and now we have breached trend lines. So, second leg to the downside. Whoever mentioned that potentially incoming, let's see. Didn't break that wick high on Tesla as well as we really start to pick up the momentum towards the volume-weighted average price.
All right, Luis putting in really interesting statistics here. Listen to what he said. So he's talking about DRMA. DRMA has 14 gaps since 2020, and it has a 92% probability to go red close probability. Sorry, 93% red close probability. So in other words, you know, this one is around for a good time, not a long time. Let's see if we can possibly take out $0.75. What I've done now is I've tightened up my stop. Prior bar low is where I've moved up my stop to. So prior bar low on the 5, that takes us down to 162. So currently we've got 163 as current bar low. Prior bar low, which is the candle of indecision, that did make the high of the day, but did end up closing red, has a low of 162. So let's keep an eye out on this one. Here we go. Let's see if we can take out some at around the low 70s, high 60s. There's a seller at 67 here, continuing to watch. We have a higher low on this one, but there's no follow through quite yet. Into 68 we go. Let's see if we can wet the beak a little bit over here. Looking for a bigger move now into 69, really to test 70, but you can see the seller step in. You can see the seller step in. Let's see if we can move up. We're taking some off the levels here. There we go. Big seller at 69. Be careful with this, guys. There's some lottage here at 69. So let's see if we can work our way up and do some more damage on DRMA, waiting for the print at 69, but there's a lot of selling at 69 penny level. You'd think that they'd be waiting at around 70, right? The 10 penny level is where, you know, a lot of people like to set up, but 69er is what they're earmarking here, Joey. We've got 65s on. We're looking for a move into 70. We have higher lows on this candle, but we also have lower highs, right? So the trend, you know, is in our favor, but we need to breach prior bar high. There's 70, and now we get the print. Good continuation now, looking for a breach of 72. That is the high. So let's see if we can work our way into 75, 75, you know, likely an area of resistance as well. 71 showing up now, 72. Let's wet the beak over here. Good trade so far. We put in good size on this one, looking for a bit more. There's 73. Now we're almost at 74, which is the high of the day. Let's see if we can squeeze out some shorts on this one. We got 64s on here. There's 74. So there's a breach, there's a test of the high of the day. Let's go ahead and take a little bit more out here. There it is, another failure coming back down now. If it comes into my entry, that ends the trade. A lot of topping tail candles, but we already knew that this was going to be a topping tail fest, right? I mentioned that to you guys. This is the characteristic of this one, right? And that, you know, is something that we can't control. So, good trade on this one, but looks like we're giving back some here, Joey, as we dip down back into the high 60s, low 70s.
All right, beautiful stuff. Yeah, guys, so we did take some off. There was a nice add, a curl over. But what I'm seeing on the 5-minute time frame isn't too much of to my liking here, just considering that we're starting to form a hammer candle. Oh man, why didn't I take that short on Tesla? Momentum really starting to pick up. So let's see if we're gonna get the same thing here with AMDL. Nice curl over, nice multiple adds here, just using our unrealized gains to add into the position. And then sure enough, we add another 30% onto our daily realized, and we're gonna look to add some more. I only took 12.5% off on this previous partial right there. So if we get anything around 12.14s, that's when I'm gonna take about half of what I have remaining off and letting the rest slide for the rest of the session if we're fortunate enough to get there. But this kind of held up really well, Gaurav. Didn't breach it, and then you have a nice strong flush to the downside. This is alarming to me. I don't want this to close like this, right? Because that means we can probably come back in and retest this. And considering I already locked in some profit, oh, okay, that's promising. We like that. Let's head over to the 1-minute time frame. We don't really care about IBIT right now. We want to focus on AMDL. And AMD to see if we're going to potentially head there. Liquidity issues on AMDL, so let's head over to AMD, the actual underlying, which it's derived from. So this is just breath to me. Look at the volume step in on the 1-minute time frame to the downside, and then look how we were defending this, right? I always talk about effort and result quite often, and it's really important to kind of gauge that within your trading. Does it work all the time? Absolutely not. Nothing in trading works all the time, but if you can somewhat work your way around it, read what volume is telling you, because I think it's equally as important, and a lot of veteran traders could agree with that. Volume is equally as important to what price is actually telling you, and that can stop you from getting caught in potential fake outs and fake breakouts as well too. I talk about it all the time. Just when you're punching through key resistance or support, you want to see that effort step in, right? And then if the result is breaking through, but there's little volume, that could just be somewhat of a liquidity grab. But if the volume is supporting that breakout, then maybe you'll get a sustained continuation. A nice test of the low of the day, or sorry, of that pivot low. If we can breach that, then we're really starting to rock and roll, Sharif. And that's kind of the narrative here that I'm looking for. 12.14. That's approximately 6 pennies away from here, which isn't bad whatsoever. And if we continue on this trajectory, I think we'll be okay.
I love hearing that, man. I love hearing it. Good short there, Joey. Shout out to Mopar, my man Mopar. Chrysler's favorite, I would say there. Or in I guess, modern days, Stellantis' favorite. I was about to mention it.
Did you actually think that, or do you think he was trolling, or actually...
Mopar?
Yeah, is he actually...
I don't know. Maybe, I don't. Would you throw it? Maybe it's a troll.
Pretty descriptive, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, maybe he was like a...
But were you walking down that street?
Wellesley? Mm-hmm. We're on Wellesley, Joey.
But were you walking? I know we're on it, but...
Hold on, Joey.
All right.
There goes drama into the high of the day of 79. Sadly, Joey, it didn't cross 79, so we didn't get the print at 79, but we got everything else filled, and we're doing well on drama. We're looking for more. Let's see if we can squeeze up now into that $2-ish area. 77 showing up again. Here comes 78. It looked like that flash momentarily, but no continuation. As is normal, this one's got a topping tail king over here. But let's get to the Mopar man's comment, and I'm going to load that up. Shout out to you, Mopar. I'm sad that you couldn't say what's up. Apparently, he saw me on the bus, or he was on the bus. He saw me walking on the street that we're on here. Shout out to my man Mopar. Thoughts on NRXS? Bought a starter position yesterday. Looking to add more. Thank you, guys. Thank you. have a look. NRXS. All right, let's go to the daily because clearly he's looking a little bit longer term. What the hell is this? This is beautiful over here. Let me just flip to the weekly quickly. This is really good. Okay, so this is all-time highs that we got into today, breaching that mid-August, I want to say early to mid-August of 2023. Fantastic look there. What does this company do? Because I don't know anything about it. It's an $83 million market cap. Wow, okay, so it's small. Medical technology company focused on developing neuromodulation therapies to address chronic and debilitating conditions in children and adults, okay? Focuses on advancing science, leveraging evidence-based medicine to drive the adoption of its IB stim therapy, which is proprietary percutaneous electrical nerve field stimulation, not I've heard of it, by medical, scientific, and patient communities. Okay, so not like much I can add in terms of the fundamentals or the science, but this is a hell of a move. You're getting extended away though. Look at the day that it had today. What a range. $2 worth of range, 6 at the low, 8 at the high. Ooh, this is a very, very good pattern. I think most people would agree this is the rounding pattern, the rounded bottom. Big smile, where you at, my man? Oh. We miss you, we love you, of course. He's probably listening to us. He's always working, putting food on the table for the fam. We love him for that.
Incoming in 5.
Incoming, yeah. 4. I know, right? He's going, LJS this, LJS that. No, seriously though, Mopar, this is really good. What I would be I wanted to mention to you is that there is a good chance that this turns into a cup and handle, right? If that ends up manifesting and this ends up being a cup and handle pattern, then you should expect some sideways consolidation, which is the handle pattern, right, of the cup. Doesn't always have to be like that. Now, a couple other things I want to mention. If it doesn't do the cup and handle pattern and it moseys on up, I would say that you need to set up some breakout levels here. For me, the breakout level is the breach of the prior all-time high, that August 2023 level. So what does that mean? Why are you earmarking that August 2023 level? Because you want to measure the move, right? The measured move. We know that the measured move for the rounded bottom is essentially taking it from the consolidation area low and projecting it to the breakout level. In my humble submission, the breakout level is previous all-time highs. And then you take that and you project it upward, and that should be your target. So in this case, what do we have here? Let's just say, for the sake of example, because we found really a lot of support, I want to say at 250 to 225. Let's just go with 225. All right, so we have a 225 level all the way up to the breakout level. Let's just say $7 because it was 690. Let's just go 7. All right, so there, let's just go 2 to 7, so $5. You need to be projecting $5 up from 7 in that area. It's not a science, it's an art. So you should be looking to wet the beak at $12 to $13. That's my submission for that. If you're going to really use technicals, that's as technical as it gets, right? You're identifying the shape, you're identifying the breakout part, the breakout level, you're identifying the area to start measuring, which is the consolidation area bottom, to the breakout level, and then you're projecting it up for the measured move. That's my opinion, you Mopar. I hope you print up storms on that, and this is a great looking chart, Joey.
Good stuff, man. Is there any mini put places close around here? I feel like getting my short game on.
I like that. I don't know. Use Google
yeah,
Maps.
I just did, man. We got something down. I think got something lined up here. Anybody who wants to go one-on-one in mini put, feel free, hit me up. I'm down to do this. Yeah, let's go. All right, I'm glad you're doing a lot better at Wendy's tendies. There we go. We're taking some fills there finally, Sharif, yes, on AMDL, slowly starting to piece up. It's been an all-day fader on this one.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, I mean, all days, man. So there it is, VWAP breakdown. Look at this hold.
Got it, Joe.
Deontay Wilder, that one, no Devin Haney, all the way down to a 3-1 there, approximately, Sharif. So, it's honestly like, so full disclosure, we enter on that one, but just like a little less size helps me hold for longer durations opposed to just like max size. And you slowly lift that in increments, and then you wait for those 3-1 targets, and it's like boom, 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 boom. You slowly start taking some partial. And then surprisingly so, it's Friday and we're just been relaxing. I have double the amount of size here than what I had on this, and then we start to take some out. So not too bad. It's putt-putt or mini golf, not just mini putt. I didn't know there was a difference between the two, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, And if it doesn't matter what it is, I'm all about that smoke, to be honest with you, Sharif.
Yo, Neil has a good idea.
What does he have a good idea?
We should kind of try to do a Trader TV outing for some mini putt. I know I won't win, but it'll be fun.
Who said they know they don't win already?
Neil.
Are you
Well,
gonna
he can't
count
win
yourself
everything.
out
He's
then?
gonna dunk on you and I, right? In the race, he can't be king of them
Yeah,
all.
but dude,
I'm kidding.
running double 40 straight is so much easier than relay because he's going full momentum.
Oh, he's gonna come in now.
He's coming hot.
You aggravated
He's coming
him.
hot, man.
Oh, he's coming in
this is
hot.
crazy.
Here we go.
Listen, I'm all about. See, are you a mini putter or no?
Mini putt, bro. Mini golf.
You don't know what mini? Oh.
Assassino, is it working?
Is this on?
Yeah,
We're on, man.
Okay, so I have a new proposition.
Yeah.
What distance would it be fair for you?
Yeah.
Under 200 meters that
I'm
you
more
guys
of a
can
distance
hand off?
guy, though. To be honest with you.
More of a distance guy.
Yeah, like I'm talking like 10K. How do you?
10K?
Yeah. How are you on?
We're
No,
not
You
running
are-
a marathon.
You crazy? I'm not running no marathon. No one wants to
it's
see
not a
that.
marathon. It's not even close to a marathon.
Nobody,
it's 10K.
nobody cares. This guy's a hockey player. You won't even stand up to it. I'm just saying, what is a fair race? And these two guys can hand off, and I'll run the whole thing. 400 is too long.
No.
Because I'm 47 years old.
I think we
But you you're starting with the excuses already.
this guy's shark. He's luring us.
No,
Yeah,
y'all
yeah,
can do
yeah,
200.
yeah.
We'll do 200
Listen,
meters.
I'll take the bait all day.
Alright,
Lure
I'm
me in,
just
baby.
simply
I'm
saying.
all about that smoke, but I'm not even. I'm at like 20%.
In all seriousness,
You got to
a few-
heal first.
Yeah.
A few years
man.
ago, I know that. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. In all seriousness, we did like a bowling outing a couple of years ago.
I remember
that
The
with
entire
Fefe.
crew went out and we had some drinks and like
Remember
it's
that.
something we need to get out there again.
I completely
Mini
agree.
putts a fantastic
Yeah,
idea.
yeah, yeah,
Added
yeah,
like
yeah.
some laser tag,
Especially with summer coming along, it'd be nice to go.
Yeah,
outside.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. We should do that, and then we can maybe invite a few viewers.
What
if
is
we want to as well.
there has to be like a crazy prize though, like
A prize?
Yeah, if you win,
about the good
if
time?
you win, if you win mini putt, then I get your lunch for the next month.
Why is
Okay,
this
the
guy
winner doesn't
always
have
doing
to.
that?
The loser has to buy the winner's drinks and meal. I don't know. What are we
that's
talking
fair.
about?
That's
We can
fair.
expense the
Yeah.
thing anyways. What difference does it make?
We could probably do teams, and the one team has to buy the other team lunch.
Out of sheer principle, because this guy wants to be all this, I'm gonna whoop everyone's butt. It's mini golf. I just want to be on the other team.
It's all
Because I just wanna
psychological.
see you go
Listen,
down.
there's a high probability I could lose, but it's all about
Hate.
It's as much as it is physical, it's psychological warfare as well too. So it's just you got to get into people's mind.
All right. Scott H says he'll smoke you any day, Neil. Period. That's Scott H. That's a bold statement, Scott.
For me?
We'll talk more about that. No.
No, it's just about this. There's
Come
someone,
in.
a comment I just saw is like, first place is tilapia plate. And
That's
And
last
everyone's
place.
gonna want to lose then.
No, that's last
I gotta
place,
tell you,
man.
I don't mind the tilapia. Sia, do you not like the tilapia?
Look, I don't
Be
mind the food
real.
here. I'm actually like so grateful there's lunch here. I
Not
don't
too many
cook.
places have
I'm a student,
that.
guys.
There you go,
Any kind
there
of
you go.
food is food.
Assassino says no more tilapia for me.
Brother, this guy's getting salmon every day.
Who? Assassino?
Yeah.
Or
He's
shrimp.
pescatarian.
I know
brother.
he is,
Yeah.
but
we can be pescatarian
you know I got my
too.
eyes. I got my eyes on that salmon every day, my boy.
All right, I love it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Sia, for coming in.
All right, man. Let's take a look at this
Yeah,
AMD
sure.
here one more time. Listen, someone was talking about this. Multiple people were saying, hey, short in the market is definitely in the play. So somewhat of a leg move. Break that down, break that uptrend, and then now we're off to the races, almost at the low of the day. Same thing here with Tesla, not at the low of the day, but we're heading right towards the volume weighted average price, and it seems like there's a little bit more strength in the selling pressure than there is in the buying right now. And if we can crack this 201.25 level on AMD, I believe that we're going to be able to take some more profits off, and that could send me down to 1210 here on AMDL, the leverage product. So it's been a pretty good one. NVDA. Or NVDA, let's see if you can break down as well. It's definitely going to drag the market with it.
Good job, Joey. That's a hell of a short way to spot that, my man. All right, watching drama back into the high of the day, goes, rejects this candle, has a higher low, but it also has a lower high. 183, current bar high on the 5-minute chart on drama, up 50%, but the prior bar has a 184. I didn't wet the beak there because I want 8/8s. Quite frankly, I hate to even use the G word. greedy, but you know, when it's presenting you with unbroken higher lows, why am I looking to get out? Go ahead, Joey.
Yeah, we took a little bit more off there, Sharif, at 15s on AMDL. I still have half of the position remaining, but we got to keep an eye on it just in case we do fail to head towards the low of the day and establish a new higher low.
Great trade, Joe. Great trade. Keep it going, baby. Manifest codes now. Drama, 1 day time frame looking crazy. Shout out to Dewey. I appreciate you, Dewey. Shout out to my man, Dewey. We're going to keep an eye out on this one. I don't have anything yet. A lot of people are saying E-Trade is down, guys. We don't have E-Trade in Canada. We don't have E-Trade in Canada, right? No, we don't. We have, you know, some American companies, IB. We've got, obviously, you guys know Ameritrade. That's actually a Canadian company, but they sold it, I think, to Schwab now. It used to be called TD Ameritrade. Obviously, TD stands for Toronto Dominion, in case some of my American friends didn't know that. But we don't have E-Trade. So we have something similar. We have something called Quest Trade, not like you guys cared, but yeah. So
that thing's ancient, man. Quest Trade was like the OG
they're in my area now, man. They bought one of the buildings, or like they have their big ass sign on top of the building.
I remember my cousin.
Like they're running things there now, Joey.
My cousin.
Back into the high day drama. Go ahead.
He was like all about Quest Trade way back in the day.
Do they have good rates on things?
I have no idea.
How's their platform? You don't know anything about that?
I know nothing about it. Yeah.
To me, if you're a serious trader, in Canada, your options are a little limited, and that's kind of like the way it is.
Like if you want the packaged, like if you want like all access, you're a little bit limited. I
feel so.
Yeah.
Look, give credit to some other brokerages who have kind of diversified their game a little bit, but it's still.
You see, Wealthsimple is zero
like
commission.
Robinhood, though.
No, hold on, let me finish.
Yeah,
zero commissions on options trading.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hold on, is Robinhood zero commission on options?
I have no idea, but Wealthsimple is now.
The Robinhood of Canada. Press the button, see if you want to come in. Press the button. Okay, it says, I think, Adara on it or something like that.
There you go. Bang. Now we're figuring things out.
There you go. See? Now you can weasel in that way. Exactly.
Simple. I really love it. I personally invest and use that platform too.
Do you use it? Do you like using it? Is it user-friendly?
Yeah, it's very user-friendly. And you can create a watch list for yourself, and you can also take a look at it suggests you ETFs based on your activity.
Oh, that's interesting.
ETFs you might like, or what I don't know.
All right, see, what do you have on your watch list?
She sold everything yesterday.
I sold all my stocks that I had, AEO, ANF, everything, but I bought 2 more shares of the Vanguard High Dividend.
Okay, you mentioned that the other day, yeah.
I also bought another share or 2 of gold, but the VanEck ETF of gold.
GLD.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Bang.
Gold, long-term play. Long-term play. Good stuff.
Can you grab fractionals? I'm sure you can grab fractionally.
You can, but the problem is every time I've tried grabbing like a QQQ or an Invesco fractional, it expires and it does not get fulfilled. So
okay, so then change the order type to good till filled, GTF.
Or GTC.
GTC.
Good till cancel, GTC.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Good till
GTC
cancel.
on that. Yeah, GTC.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
We'll get that right.
Guys, continuing to hold drama here. This ended up breaching prior bar low, which I feel probably stopped out a lot of people, but it's turning into a bottoming tail hammer candle now and back into 180. So I'm trying to pack the patience here. I have a lot of room based upon where I got in the current price action, and I'm full disclosure, not holding much left. So, really trying to take my time with this one. But as I take my time with that, it's allowed me to kind of look at some others. And guys, Anna is looking like this might be setting up for a short. Let's refresh, see where the WAP is at. Well, VWAP is at 16, calm down, Sharif. 618. Now, remember that trade that I had yesterday? I forget the name of the ticker because I have the memory of a goldfish, but it was one very similar to this in the sense that it was a prolonged downtrend, found support, I think, in and around VWAP, broke the downtrend line, consolidated for a little bit, which is normal, and then boom, went the dynamite. It took out prior area high. So I don't want to put my short goggles on too quickly with this one because it can do the same thing like we saw yesterday. So I'm going to keep my eye on this one. ANA, I think, is still in play either as a dip trade off the volume weighted average price as a long, or, you know, for the breakout trade and a resumption of trend, or the ending of the lower highs and a resumption of trend. I'm speaking about ANA, continuing to watch this one. Okay, happy that I held drama back into the high of the day. It goes into 83s, 84 is the high of the day. We've got 64s on at the moment. We're not able to shake. Now, the seller here on drama, triple top on the 5-minute chart. Let me just bring this in. This is the 5 right here. So look at this. We're getting all sorts of selling. Now, you could be like, wow, look, you know, you got higher lows. You don't, though. This candle breached prior bar low, albeit by a little bit, but I'm continuing to watch the seller at 184, continue to defend their position. I just think if we're up here, we're likely going to glance at 2. If that's a statement, I want to wet my beak at 2. It's my story. I'm sticking to it. Hezbollah. We attacked with a swarm of suicide drones. Go ahead, Sia.
Yeah, no, there's just an announcement from the Qatar Energy CEO saying that the North Field expansion project, which was initially set for 2027, has until further notice and could, until further notice, be delayed for over a year.
Okay. Thank you very much for that, Sia. Hezbollah, we attacked with a swarm of suicide drones, a gathering of enemy Israeli soldiers south of the town of Marun al-Ras, something head. Al-Ras means the head. Israeli airstrikes on Kafr. Kafr means like district. Tibnit in the Nabthia district. Okay, so just Hezbollah, we shielded our settlement with missiles as a part of the warning we issued. Okay. So it looks like more Lebanese, there's more attacks in Lebanon happening there. So that, I don't want to say it's not important. Of course it is, but it's away from the oil fields. So, you know.
Yeah, that was on foot soldiers this time.
Pardon me?
That was on foot soldiers.
I don't know.
I think that you read. That's what you said. Yeah, it was kind of a group there. Okay. All right, guys, we took some more out. We took it off at 13s, I believe we got. So a nice little movement and continuation. So you can see it's FIFO here. So first in, first out. We had a little bit left, only 20% remaining. After we added that, my average did bump up, but now we're just sitting on the remaining amount of this final add here. So that's what the price is going to be considering. So we'll take that all day. It's not too bad of a look. A lot of buying pressure stepping in the overall market, though. A slight pullback in USO. Nice channel on today's session. A bounce off the volume-weighted average price was really clean, and then you go and establish a new high of the day. This was a big-time volatility spike. If we were patient enough to wait, it holds that wick low, bounces off view up and off to the races. And the exact same narrative with this one. If we were slightly more, I guess, aggressive, I should have been. On that hold of that, you base at the top, so it's acting as a resistance zone, and then you come right back into volume-weighted average price, all right? Some buying pressure slowly starting kicking in. We do almost establish a LOD on the NASDAQ, right? So we almost get there, and then that support system coming into play, and then now you're starting to bounce off of it. What is this big boy up to? Because I think it's really important to monitor NVDA because they just move in correlation sometimes. It's like a spitting image of the other chart. Sometimes you only have to look at one. So SPY, same thing. Didn't get as close as the NASDAQ did to the low of the day, but a lot of chop here today, guys. I think there's going to be some solid activity and some pretty big imbalances coming near the end of the day, all right? A lot of individuals are going to be closing those options positions, and they're going to do so. You have it in the morning, so it's like, all right, the last day, I don't want to give up whatever unrealized I have, or if you're a writer, you're like, let's get out of Dodge. How do we know this? I'm going to show you an example of it right now, and we're going to go over the options chain and just see how some of the open interest on today's expiration cycle started to cool off. I mean, we had 267 over 250 here at that $200 mark. We had 130s and we had 190s here in like 190,000 at that 190 mark. So there's a lot going on, and there's some positions being closed, which can tell you individuals are locking in those gains. They're writing, it's like, there's no point in me holding onto this contract because it's not worth anything anymore. And if any form of volatility steps in, why would I give back something because that volatility is definitely going to uptick. When you're at options expiration days, gamma is highly, highly sensitive, and so is your theta. It can really, really mess up your profits, and that's why it drags a lot of traders in, is because that gamma and that theta exposure fluctuates very, very high on that final day of expiration.
Great call out, Joey. The Qatar energy CEO saying, this is about, a few minutes ago, saying that the North Field expansion project set to be open in 2027 could be delayed by more than a year. I think that's like one of the underrated, here comes drama. I think that's one of the more underrated trades, I think, is because Qatar is getting hit now. They're, I think, one of the biggest producers of natural gas in the world. So, if they keep getting hit, and one of their facilities got hit and they said it's going to take 4 to 5 years to rebuild, if you believe that, then there may be a nat gas trade here that maybe I think I haven't thought of yet. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts about that, guys. You guys think that nat gas could be in play here, especially with, Qatar on the receiving end of some hits, and if, the belligerencies continue, you think that, maybe more targets get hit, taking more supply offline. So an LNG specific trade here. I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. Scott Tomlinson said 1,000%. Let's see what some other people have to say. LNG has been way up, says Graffiti X Nut. Yeah, it has been. Maybe we can go up a little bit more. Dave says, heck yeah, natural gas going to be fire. All right, that's interesting. Scott H says, I've been trading TTE on the LNG disruption this week. That's very interesting there. All right, let's see what else people are saying. Box Qatar says, Stalker Camel. All right, man. Mr. T says, I'm up over 600% on ticker LNG. How long you been holding that, man? Yeah, and Big Mank 88, a zillion percent, he thinks so. Matt Murr says, Boyle still getting crushed. Interesting. Scott Tomlinson says, Boyle 2 weeks to 1 month out. Okay. Lemon Family talking about drama. As Sharif says, these don't stay around for a long time. It's flushing. LOL. Yeah, you know what I mean by that, brother. Like Luis was giving us a data on drama. He was saying 20 gaps up or 10 gaps up or something like that since 2020. 97% of them ended up closing red. Like, it's hard to argue with that kind of data, right? And I'm trading this intraday. So it did test 165, but bounces up. If it comes into 164, it ends the trade for me. It really is that simple. All right, continuing to look at some of the things that you guys are saying here. Phantom Trader, nat gas is a heavily leveraged product, so longs are harder to get, but it's a long bidding. I don't disagree with that. I think there are some ways you can kind of get in without the leverage, but I do see what you're saying. Let's see what else you guys are talking about there. Nat gas will make thousandaires. I like that, Dave Z. Interesting. Scott Tomlinson goes on to say these oil and gas fields will take a while to put together. I don't disagree with that at all. In fact, that's what you're hearing from the horse's mouth, right? I don't mean to call the Qatar oil minister a horse, but it's an expression, clearly. He says 4 to 5 years for the facilities that got hit yesterday by those drones. So literally dozens of dollars, says Gray Matter. All right, you guys are jokes. All right, continuing to watch drama here. It did breach the 10 EMA on the 5, but it is finding a bit of a bid into about 172. I'm going to continue to hold this, and if it stops me out break even, I'll accept that because I don't have that much left in the way of shares. But I'm good with that. See ya. You see what time it is? Boom.
Let's start with NVIDIA. NVIDIA will be supplying, I'm going to begin again. NVIDIA has been supplying 1 million plus AI chips to Amazon, AMZN, AWS by 2027, which is marking one of the largest AI infrastructure deals to date. Shipments will be beginning this year and will be extending through the year 2027, but this will provide a multi-year revenue visibility. So this deal includes a broad mix of AI and networking products and not just GPUs. So it will not just be limited to GPUs. There'll be multiple mix of AI and networking products. And now AWS will be deploying Blackwell and Rubin GPU architecture. So this agreement includes the Spectrum networking chips, ConnectX, and Spectrum X systems, which will expand NVIDIA's footprints. And NVIDIA is pushing full-stack AI platform strategy, which comprises of both computing and networking. So AWS, finally, is planning to use Grok chips, G-R-O-Q Grok chips, and multiple NVIDIA chips, up to 7 types of them, for inference workloads.
That's what I like, and that's what I want to see there. So right away, they've got a customer, I should say, for their inference CPUs, which is what Grok is, right? It's very much an ASIC type chip, hence the acquisition of Grok to kind of get their focus on that as well, because they've been, NVIDIA that is kind of pegged as great as having GPUs great for training, but not the hottest for inference. They quickly addressed that through an acquisition, which I like, right? Companies responding to these things. So number one, you gotta like that they have a long dated view for income, for revenue, I should say, excuse me, 1 million AI chips by 2027. Bro, it's 2026. That's a lot of freaking AI chips within the span of maximum 2 years here. Gotta love that. Apparently shipments begin this year and extend through 27. So good accumulation there. Asia also mentioning, it's not just about chips, it's about the networking as well. We've been talking a lot about photonics, about connecting these GPUs together for the lowest latency possible. Photonics really coming into play. I gave you guys LITE, which is down 9% on the day, but still very much up in an uptrend. So that's kind of what I take from this. Longer dated revenue, looking obviously to diversify different chips in their arsenal there. I'm talking about Amazon. And the fact that they're not relying exclusively on their Trainium 2 for inference and they're actually diversifying into these Grok chips makes me feel better about possibly NVIDIA's moat getting disrupted, because you and I have been talking about this, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what about, if the hyperscalers, they get away from buying these NVIDIA chips and then they focus on making their own? Well, Amazon is doing that. We know that they're doing it with Trainium, but they're also picking up Grok. Yeah. So maybe that whole thesis that I had about NVIDIA getting disrupted by internally designed silicon, maybe that doesn't actually manifest as quickly or as aggressively.
That's the thing. That's the key thing that you said, as quickly. Right?
Yes.
It's just because of the head start that these guys have. Yes. And obviously with the vertical and horizontal integration that Jensen is just continuously going on about, it makes it a little bit more, and which gives them also a competitive pricing point advantage as well too, because it's just everything is so compatible, and that's their objective, is just be compatible with essentially everything. And we know from previous kind of examples and experiments is that when you make those in-house chips, it doesn't technically work as well as what Jensen and company have. We've seen Meta attempt it before, the on and off program with
TPUs.
Well, Tensor, but that's like, you got to think about it. Google's a different beast. TensorBot, right? Google's a different beast. It's like, hey, Meta struggling to do so. Right, just struggling to do so. So it's not like you may have the one-off situation. I just think Google has such a massive advantage compared to just considering from a business perspective than what Meta has.
I agree with that.
So it can be disrupted, but the timeline may be stretched out a little bit more than what we're anticipating.
I don't disagree with that. Let's go to see it for news, and we can go to the next story as well.
So just a U.S. Baker Hughes oil rig count here, actual standing at 414, previous at 412. I don't know why oil is... Yeah, go to Sharif.
Drones target U.S. diplomatic facility near Baghdad airport. That's being reported by a number of different news institutions. So drones targeting diplomatic facility near the Baghdad airport. It doesn't say if it's an American diplomatic facility. It doesn't specify. As soon as we get more news, we're going to give it to you guys. Sorry, Sia, to interrupt you, but that's kind of what is going on right now with that. We can go back to Sia.
Also, I don't know if this might be relevant or not, but Russia has reportedly struck oil and gas sites in Ukraine's Poltava and Sumy gas areas, according to a news report. But let's move on to our next story. Okay, Amazon is reportedly developing a new smartphone after the failed Fire Phone attempt back in 2014. This was overseen by Jeff Bezos himself and had been scraped within a year due to its weak adoption. Now, Amazon's willingness to re-enter the hardware despite its past failures signals a great effort from the company's side. Now, the new phone is internally been called Transformer and is being built within the Amazon's devices and services division. It has been positioned as a personalization hub centered around Alexa. And it is designed to act as a daily touchpoint for users, which can potentially increase engagement across services. So now this smartphone is expected to sync with Amazon's Alexa and smart home infrastructure, which will reinforce Amazon's ecosystem strategy. But there has been no confirmed launch timeline, pricing, or expected revenue contribution, and the financial commitment to the project is also at the moment undisclosed.
This is, I can't believe how young Marques Brownlee looks
crazy.
Here. That's crazy. The reason I show this, Joey, that's the last time Amazon attempted a phone. This is 2014. Shout out to Marques Brownlee, man. Holy, he's grown up, man. He's a grown-ass man now.
He's a teenager there.
He's a teenager
he's
there,
a little
right?
kid, man.
Shout out to Ultimate
crazy.
Frisbee. He's about that life. But this is the last time, Joey, they took a shot at making a phone.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a flop, but that was under previous administration, of course, with Jeff Bezos. Look, you know, they got a lot of money. I think it's going to be based on the Android operating system, so another nod to Google there. I don't mind this if you're trying to build an ecosystem for yourself. So we know some people have Alexa, right, at home. They use Alexa for this and that. And obviously there's e-commerce that they tie you in to. I don't mind them trying an ecosystem here. I just feel if you're going to be, just be as transparent as possible. Tell us that you're likely not going to make much money off this phone and that your intentions are to build an ecosystem. I think that that's what they're going for here. I don't necessarily think that you know, this is going to be a big money maker for them, but yeah, looks like, you know, they're saying it could function as a gateway to Amazon services. We're talking about shopping, content, AI assistance. All right, reflects a broader push to AI-driven personalization. What I'd also like to know is it going to come, you know, with the required hardware to be able to run maybe a small language model on device so that you could kind of market it as an AI phone. That's kind of some of the information that I don't know. And apparently, according to the article that we reviewed this morning, no confirmed launch time, no confirmed pricing. They don't know what the expected revenue is. And we also don't know how much money they're going to throw at this project. So we don't know the financial commitment to the project. That remains undisclosed. So want to mention that. Iran says unwilling to discuss Hormuz while under attack. Okay, so that's the look there. All right, thank you very much, David Liang. Just before we get Joey's take on that, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, David. I can't sleep right now. What will happen? Stop laughing. What will happen if the DOJ pokes NVIDIA for colluding with SMCI to smuggle graphics cards to China all the way to 120? That's an interesting take. I personally don't think that the U.S. wants to destroy their gem, and you know their diamond right now is NVIDIA, the world's leading AI chip maker or designer. They don't make them actually. Somebody does. I don't think that that's the case. I also. Just my opinion, no facts. I don't think Jensen is stupid enough to collude and then, subject the entire company and everything that it comes with that to what would happen. So I don't think that that's the case, but if it is the case, of course, and they do get investigated by the DOJ, you better believe that NVIDIA is going to sell off and sell off aggressively. How far and for how long, I don't know. I have no idea. But just before we go to Joey, guys, Anna is changing its tune here, okay? Watch out for the breakout now. The trend has broken. It's a couple of higher lows in a row. We're breaching above this trend line for the first time since the topping tail into 760. Be on the lookout here. Anna could be in play, but I have to warn you, watch out for the lower high right around $7. I've seen this story before. It makes the move, comes into that, technical area of resistance that you can't shake, and then it puts in a lower high, and then it likely loses VWAP subsequent to that. And if it does that, I'm taking it short. I'm not saying it's going to do that. I'm just saying be on the lookout for it. Joey, what do you think about this Amazon iPhone?
A couple things I have to cover before we talk about Amazon here is our boy Danny Boy over here, giving us a $20 super chat. We can't forget about him. Joe, about a month ago, I picked up some end of the you got to read these a couple times. The end of the world VIX calls at $70 strike price expiring June 16th. They're currently up 27%. I'm thinking of selling half on the next volatility spike. What can I expect in decay? Yeah, I mean, that's a good play. Those are extremely out of the money. And I mean, this is what we can do. So whatever platform you have, I wouldn't hold those, obviously, until expiration. I just don't think that's the right play. But again, what do I know? It's your position. But you can just go, whatever you're doing it on, it will tell you your theta. On this one, it's not pulling it up for me for some reason. I tried getting it, but considering it's just so far out of the money, I'd have to go all the way down here to 79, but I can't get there for some reason. Let's see if I expand this.
Get there, Joey.
Yes. So it will tell you. But don't forget, it accelerates day by day, right? So whether it be a couple of pennies or something along those lines, it will tell you the contract's decay. All of your Greek metrics, I don't know if you're using IBKR, then you can just go into the client portal. It will tell you that instead of using TWS, which is kind of glitchy here right now. Or you can even do this. So we'll do it live, and we'll add insert a column, and you can see the theta on this. If I don't want to take too long, there it is, bang. Bang, and then sure enough, right there, right? So it'll tell you that this is losing like $1.70 a day, $1.80. But that'll accelerate, right? So it's just that simple. You can calculate, and you can see how these in the monies are kind of acting and everything along those lines. So all your Greek metrics will be displayed because they are a calculation. Now, as for Amazon, it's interesting. Is this just a waste of money considering? No, I'm serious.
No,
you know
I think it's a fair statement,
right? Is this just a waste of money considering we know that Apple and Samsung essentially dominate the space? I don't know how much market share you can grab unless you have something that's really, really outstanding and the consumer wants to grab. But one thing that I will give credit for is that what is the next boom in this AI trade? Is it from a software standpoint, or are we going to start to transition and see this stuff implemented into hardware, which I think is that next massive step that we need to take? But as of right now, I just don't know if I would want to compete against Apple and Samsung.
You don't like the kind of ecosystem push, having you locked in with Alexa on there?
Sure. You can have the ecosystem push, but how many people are already locked into ecosystems, right? Like you have the individuals who live and die by that ecosystem, and it's hard to get them to switch over unless your technology is phenomenal. Is this phone going to be that?
They got to offer something. It better come with a back massage.
You better come with something. You know what I mean? Like you better be able to teleport or something at this point, Sharif, with that thing, because it's just really hard to sway people from the ecosystems that they're already integrated into.
That's fair enough. I think Apple, Google, we're kind of ensconced, you and I, in both.
Yeah, exactly.
We have Google at work,
right? And it's like, now do you want to go off grid and grab this Amazon thing? No, it's like you would most likely stay within the ecosystem.
You're in the Apple ecosystem personally.
Yeah.
I'm in the Apple ecosystem personally. At work, we're locked into the Google ecosystem.
Exactly.
And we're happy like that. Two ecosystems, good enough for me.
That's it, man.
All right, Sia, what do we got another Amazon story. They're ripe with stories today.
Yeah, we definitely do have another Amazon story. So Amazon has acquired Swiss robotics firm River, RIVR, focused on doorstep delivery and doorstep delivery automation. So deal terms here, again, have not been disclosed. And this is targeting last mile delivery, which is one of the most expensive and operationally complex part of logistics that is being handled by AMZN. So River's technology includes a four-legged delivery robot that is designed to assist drivers with the final package drop-off. And Amazon has framed the acquisition in a way to improve safety outcomes for the delivery workers and also at the same time boost efficiency. The robots are expected to work alongside human drivers, not replace them, at least in the short term. Now, a bit of background to this story. Amazon is known to operate a vast network of third-party delivery contractors handling last-mile logistics. So River Tech can technically and potentially help streamline this handoff van to doorstep medium, which can in turn reduce the physical strain and delivery time. So AMZN is planning to begin real-world testing and field integration before it starts gathering data on scaling. And this entire acquisition strategy fits into Amazon's broader automation push, which dates back to a $775 million acquisitions of Kiva Systems back in 2012. So now Amazon has deployed over 1 million robots across its logistics and warehouse operations.
So they have 1.5 million employees. Brendo looked that up this morning, worldwide, not in the US, and they've got 1 million robots so far. So if that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what does. But look, I gotta tell you this. I think it fits great with the narrative that we spoke about yesterday. That narrative is Amazon and USPS kind of, looking to diverge away from each other. Amazon was using USPS as kind of that last mile delivery system, and looks like they're going to bring that internally, but they're going to do it with robots. I don't think it's great for employment, all right, because drivers are going to be out of a job. Think about it like this, guys, right? They're automating the last step. So for now, the drivers are driving to your condo or to your house. But for how long? We know that AVs are right around the corner. So you're going to have an autonomous vehicle pull up and a freaking robot take out the package and drop it to your door or to the concierge if you live in a building, whatever, right? So it's not going to be great for jobs, but we know that this is where Amazon is going anyway with the layoffs that they've had. They try not to blame it on AI, but we already know what's happening here. So I think it's great for margins if you're an investor in Amazon. I just look at the societal impact and how that could affect. And think about this as well. I think we were talking about this in 24, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, when Amazon signed a new deal with their drivers where they were getting, including benefits and salary, $170,000 a year. That was the average. That includes benefits, so healthcare, some other stuff as well. But that's a huge fixed cost. Imagine being able to wean off that huge fixed cost and how that could be accretive for margins and for profitability. I hate to put it this way because people will lose their jobs, but I have nothing to do with it. I have no control over it. What do you think?
I think it's interesting. I know Amazon did a deal with an Australian robotics company not too long ago as well. So they're really looking to sway that way. Is this overly efficient? Yeah, you're eliminating the obviously the massive cost of the employee. You have the vehicle, the autonomous vehicle, whatever it may be, Zooks, and then you have the robot drop it off. But isn't there a little bit more of an efficient way? Like, can you have larger sized drones or something along those lines?
That was the right idea. I thought
to go with the drone delivery, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. Think of the cash they can spend.
But it's inefficient.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, hold on, no, it's inefficient for the drone. Yeah, because the drone can come from 1 or 2 packages at a time, unless you're going to have these big-ass eVTOLs, right? We're talking a different story.
You would need a much bigger drone, right? Yeah, which is fair, like a much bigger drone, which is totally fair. I mean, these guys got the cash, and that's what I was just saying about not too long ago. What is the next big step in the AI trade? And it doesn't necessarily seem to be a software move right now. It seems to be more or less in the hardware and how you can integrate the software into the hardware via robotics.
I agree. I think robotics is the next move, and this is just
it has to be, right? Yeah. Like, okay, I just have so much trouble with having, like, ChatGPT is a great tool, but it's just like I don't see anything outside of. You can't do anything outside of this computer.
No, but we already we're moving into agentic stuff now, Joey.
I get it, but it's like it's computer based, right?
Yeah, but the agent's doing work on your behalf. Like, look at the coding that I just did.
But I needed to see it step out and do real world things, right?
I agree. We definitely need robot. I think that's the next step.
Like a physical product.
All right, see ya. What do we got next?
About Meta Platforms has reversed its decisions to shut down Horizon Worlds on Quest VR headsets, and this is just after a day that it made its decisions to do that, and of the closure. So the platform will now remain active for the foreseeable future. for the foreseeable future. And this also highlights ongoing uncertainty in Meta's metaverse and VR strategy execution. So Meta CTO Andrew Bosworth has cited strong user feedback, which is a key reason for maintaining VR access. And Meta is also prioritizing existing users and developers, particularly those active in the Horizon worlds and engaged in the Horizon worlds. This suggests Meta is still trying to balance investment versus user adoption realities in the VR area. But no new games or content will be added to the VR platform, even while Horizon Worlds will still be available. Existing content that will be built with the Unity-based Horizon engine will also continue to function regularly. And from what I am seeing here, this is effectively shifting Horizon Worlds into a maintenance mode rather than a growth mode. What do you have to say about this?
So I didn't know what this was, Sia, until I looked it up, and then it made sense. So I have this content creator that I follow, and he always does these like jokes, videos where he's going into this game here, slapping people up, and he does like commentary along the way. It's funny. I didn't know what game it was. I get it now. Look, this to me is not what Meta should be focusing on. I think the street made them pay financially for their investments in VR, and they've shifted. To be fair to Meta, they understood. They kind of got the message. They moved on. They started deploying CapEx into AI and AR, augmented reality, which I think is definitely the better bet. You know, like I was never a fan of sitting down, putting on a giant ass headset and being in a virtual world. I never got that. Zuck is obviously far smarter than me. He liked it. So I wasn't one to argue, but I was never attracted to it. And when Meta moved away, it made sense to me. And I invested in Meta when they moved away from that. And we saw how the market rewarded them in 2023 when they dubbed it the year of efficiency, et cetera, et cetera. And they moved away from CapEx, from VR. So I don't mind the fact that they're not going to continue to support this. I think that if, there's going to be a focus, it really should be on AI, AR, and even robotics, which we haven't heard from Meta yet.
Yeah, I just don't think that the gaming world, to be honest with you, I'm a sci-fi geek. I like all of this stuff, but the world wasn't ready to transition into this VR stuff. I think it might have came a little bit late, especially during COVID, right? I mean, this thing had at its peak 300,000 monthly active monthly users, where Roblox has 1.5 million daily active users. I just don't think the world was ready to move into that. I don't think it's a technology that should be brushed under the rug. I mean, if you like the Ready Player Ones, you like the Upgrade, the movie The Upgrade, Ready Player One, a wicked movie where you just have this alternate universe, but people wanted to get back outside and actually live in reality.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
And I think that's obviously the way to go. It's fun. You probably haven't seen the movie Ready Player One. It's pretty cool.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's cool, right? Like some people live by this movie. And there's other ones called Kiss Me First, I believe. It's great. It's about Kiss Me First. It's actually really good, a low-key movie. Anyways, I just don't think we were ready to move in that direction. Zuck's cut 10% of Reality Labs' workforce. I think that's going to increase for now.
I agree.
Right because he's spending so much money, and where is he going to cut it in segments that he's been losing money in substantial amounts of cash?
I think real life is exciting enough with everything going on. Dude. I don't need to be in this virtual world. I'm a dinosaur. You know what I mean?
But even so,
I shouldn't speak for everybody else.
Like we live in the most ultimate video game. I get it. Some people, you need to escape from reality. I understand that sometimes you need to. Like for me, being an introverted individual, I like being. You're a brother. You have no idea outside of here, man.
Just because you like to chill on your own doesn't make you an introvert.
Yeah, hell, I'm at peace when I'm out. I had something else that I wanted to say here. We'll send it off to Sia, and then maybe it'll come across my mind one more time.
Yeah, just a quick update here that Germany's Chancellor Merz will be speaking on the phone with U.S. President Donald Trump over the weekend. Moving on to our next story. Tesla is in talks with multiple Chinese firms to acquire $2.9 billion worth of solar manufacturing equipment. Now, the key supplier candidate is Suzhou Maxwell Technologies, which is accompanied by others such as Shenzhen, SC New Energy, and Laplace that are also in the mix. So this deal acquires export approval from Chinese regulators, which adds a certain kind of uncertainty around timing and execution. And this investment ties into Tesla's ambitious 100 gigawatt solar capacity goal in the United States. The company is also exploring expanding its Buffalo, New York facility to 10 gigawatts capacity and potentially building a second site. Their long-term objective is to localize solar manufacturing end-to-end in the U.S. by the year 2028. So the solar expansion is definitely lining with the growing AI demand, including powering projects like SpaceX satellites. And Deloitte estimates solar power costs rising to 55% in 2026 as tax credits are phasing out.
All right. I know you want to talk about metaverse.
Okay, are we on this thing
here?
We're on
Tesla.
Okay, we're on Tesla.
Give your opinion
about all of
this.
that there. My poor selective hearing. What I was going to say, also GTA 6 coming out. That's going to be a danger for all other video games because we know how people live inside that Grand Theft Auto universe.
Good point.
Right?
Is there rumors that actually could be like VR?
It's over. I think if you're going to do it with any game, you want to be first-person shooter, the Call of Duty series, and then sure enough, Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft
And
Auto?
also in Black Mirror 2, for all my Black Mirror fans, I believe the first episode of the first season or the second episode is they kind of live in that kind of, you have to use goggles and wear stuff like that, so. Second, exactly. The first one was the pig. It's the second episode, exactly. Attaboy, my boy ass.
All right. Well, I like this Tesla headline. Okay. Initially I thought that they were looking for solar panels for their space data centers that he's been talking nonstop about, but that's not what this article says. It looks like he's trying to add how many gigawatts here to the U.S. 100 gigawatts in solar capacity. So the investment ties into Tesla's ambitious 100 gigawatt solar capacity goal in the U.S. They want to expand Buffalo, New York facility to about 10 gigawatts capacity, according to the article. Long-term objective to localize solar manufacturing end-to-end in the U.S. That would be part of Tesla's moat. We know that they're vertically integrated. This shouldn't stand to be any different, right? You're not going to just change your opinion. But I pulled up some Chinese solar stocks, SSE, and one that I've had on my watch list for a long time is a company called DQ. This is called DAQO New Energy, DAQO New Energy. So this is DQ. And as you can see on the chart's seen better days. So is JKS. This is Jinko Solar, another company that I've had on my watch list for basically since the pandemic. And this one's also seen better days. But when we look at like the half an hour, it gapped up a little bit, closed out at about 236 1/3, gapped up to about 25. Typical with these Chinese ADR, you short the pop, right? You fade the pop, and here it is, barely holding on at 24. So I think that if this is going to be a deal, it's going to be a short-term deal for these Chinese solar solar players, because we know that Tesla wants to vertically integrate and they're probably going to bring it home. But what wasn't mentioned by me was the fact that it's a lot harder now to actually import these and to manufacture them, because the U.S. tariffs and the policy shifts by the current administration make solar deployment more expensive. Of course, the current administration favors fossil fuels and nuclear energy at really the expense of solar and wind. I think reasonable people can disagree about that. And Deloitte estimates that solar projects costs rising 55% in 26 as the tax credits for them phase out. So it's something else to keep in mind, right? Elon Musk, super gung-ho about solar, but the current economic climate and the current political climate, I should say, not that favorable to it, Joey.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking to expand this energy storage into India as well, too. So I think, a segment within the company that we were talking about not too long ago that was relatively quiet, but is starting to grow at a substantial rate, and he's getting all these deals done, whether it be in China, $2.9 billion, and then also looking to head into India as well. So I like how he's really starting to expand. He got his foot in the door with the EVs, and then now it's really just like, hey, you have the gigafactory in China, and then now you're moving into India. And I mean, this is what you want to see from Tesla, because we know that its EV segment is really starting to dwindle. So what is going to be that next thing that is going to drive Tesla to that multi-trillion-dollar market cap that he needs in order to get his trillion-dollar pay package? Is it going to be the energy storage, which is slowly starting to lead the way, and it's robotics and autonomy, which I think is important. Also, Netherlands starting to approve full self-drive FSD.
Nice.
Yeah, so
nice.
that's on the way.
In Europe.
We'll wait until everybody else gets it done, and then we'll think about allowing it here.
Just before we go back to see it, guys, I wanna take a picture of this, because if this loses VWAP, this is the prototypical lure in. This is what I meant on Anna. A plethora of lower highs, you then get a break in trend. And then what ends up happening, you get a break in trend, but you get a lower high, and then you get a breakdown again. So guys, if Anna loses VWAP here, currently showing 6 1/5, this is a short, okay? Now, where you may encounter some initial support, which may dampen the short party, I'd say between 6 to 580. 6 because the whole dollar level, we could have buyers at 6, but you also have price action initial resistance at 580. Buyers could step in there. So watch for the first thing here, the loss of VWAP on ANNA and this lower high with a downtrend break. This could spell trouble. Now, it doesn't mean that this is moving back down to VWAP. It still needs to make it down there. But this is what I mean when you have a prolonged lower high trend, you get a break with some higher highs and higher lows, but then it fades and it makes a lower high. And this is where I need to get a little bit better at spotting these, which is why I didn't take this until it breached through 7 again. I was watching this closely as we were doing the news. Keep an eye out here on ANNA. This could be a beautiful short if it loses 620. Neil, if you have an opportunity, can I see how much the shorts would be for ANNA? I appreciate that, brother. All right, see what we got.
No, one thing
Go
before
ahead,
we
Joey.
send it back over to Sia, never buy property in Mexico, says Nolan. Okay, I need to know a little bit more about that. But as for AMDL, guys, a nice move here to the downside. We're starting to piece some more out. I don't have very much left, considering we tripled up our size right here, and we were fortunate enough. It's been a while since I put on one of these all-day traders. Straight from the get, we're in that from around 940. Take that to the low. We get that reload. It was honestly a picture-perfect pattern. We were fortunate enough to participate in that. We have the multiple reloads, and then boom. So participating in this whole move down in AMD in the market. NASDAQ, low of the day. SPY heading towards the low of the day. And then we have NVDA also putting in a new low of the day. Well, USO, you guessed it, is at the high of the day.
SMCI is down 30%. Oh, baby. See ya.
Yeah, Sharif, that's exactly what I was coming to. SMCI has been tanking this entire day after the employees were charged with smuggling NVIDIA chips to China. Now, let's go into context here. U.S. prosecutors have charged associates that are linked to SMCI with illegally diverting NVIDIA-powered servers to China. So there are alleged violations of the Export Control Reform Act, which basically restricts advanced AI chip exports without any licenses. And this case also highlights the ongoing U.S. efforts to block high-end AI hardware from reaching China. So the defendants have allegedly used a Southeast Asian intermediary company to disguise these shipments. And fake documentation and dummy servers have also been used to mislead compliance terms and regulators. Real servers have also been reportedly rerouted to China, and the inspections were staged to appear compliant. So the scheme has generated roughly $2.5 billion in server sales since 2024, including a $510 million in a short 2025 window. So no export license has been obtained for shipments involving NVIDIA's GPUs. And this is proof of the massive demand for AI that we keep talking about, compute in China, even under strict restrictions.
What are we gonna do with this company, bro? Like, what are we gonna do with this company, bro? Every 6 months, there's a scandal, man.
Yeah, I like them.
Get it Together.
I like him now.
You like him now because of this guy.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
Joey, let's cut the crap,
Yeah,
okay?
seriously.
It's not like there isn't a data center in the heart of Mongolia's interior with Blackwells that DeepSeek is using.
Yeah,
That doesn't exist, Joey.
No, it doesn't exist.
Look, the fact of the matter is, you're going to put restrictions and they're going to find ways around it. It's a game of cat and mouse until it isn't.
Yeah, there's loopholes, right? They're going to find loopholes.
This is not even a loophole.
They're just
This is just fraud.
No, but yeah, it is flat out fraud. There it goes. Look at the market really start to tank here now.
Yeah,
market
here,
tank.
guys.
Let's take a little bit more off. But Sharif, to add to your point,
yes, sir.
It's like we knew China was getting them from somewhere. So it's like if you're China and some of the corporations who are acquiring some of these illegal chips, are you now worried because it's like, hey, our plug is now been exposed?
Well, exactly it.
Right.
But can I say one other thing? That if you believe some of the Chinese reports, the Americans are putting kill switches and tracking devices on these.
They've been saying
I'm
that.
not saying that they are, but what I'm trying to say is imagine that these things are juiced and they're learning how the Chinese are using them, right? I'm just saying.
Do you think why would they do that?
So they can get an advantage, bro. That's what Altman does. He gives you the product for free,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
watches how you use it.
They wouldn't do
and then
it. I should have said they wouldn't do that.
Of course they would. Are you kidding me, man? All right.
Hey, you know what I say all the time, brother?
Yes, sir.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
That's fair.
All right?
That's fair. No, we're getting super, skeptical here. And the fact of the matter is this is not a good look. This is a serious company. It was part of the NASDAQ 100. And, if they want to be taken as a serious company, they're going to have to get their together because I get this is not the company doing it, but this is one of the co-founders, this Wally Liao guy. This guy owns, as Neil joked this morning, he used to own $464 million worth of stock. It's down 30% today, so he's taking a bit of a haircut there. But this is one of the main dudes in the company. They can't be doing this and think that they're going to stay on the exchange, especially having such strong ties to China already makes you a little sus. So I don't really have anything to say other than I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised, man. These guys already had issues reporting on time and everything along those lines. So, I mean, what do we say? The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
No, it doesn't, Joe.
So these guys are repeat offenders, and I wouldn't be surprised if they continuously get in trouble. I don't know. And you know what's funny? Kramer likes the front office here at SMCI. I don't know.
He likes it?
Yeah, I don't know what there is to like.
What is there to like about Charles Liang, man?
They don't report on time.
No.
Right? They're doing this. So it's like these guys are some shady individuals. It seems to be. But yeah, the NASDAQ is really tanking. Also, guys, covered call. I don't have that many shares. I wasn't even swinging some. I'm just slowly going to buy more and more and more.
Let me ask you something, though.
On NVDA,
is Dell a buy because of this? Well, here's why I say it. Before you answer.
Yeah. I need to know.
So think about you're a company now that does business with SMCI. You're a hyperscaler, you're maybe a medium scaler, and you've been getting your server racks from Supermicro. With the heat that's coming on, with the consistent heat, you drop them as a supplier and you move to Dell.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts?
I think so. That'd be the smart play, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen with these guys. What if they have to slow down production? What if the DOJ is going to start rinsing their pockets, and then sure enough they can't meet their obligations?
That's a fair point. But how about from the perspective of the customer? Let's just say Amazon. I'm not saying Amazon's buying from them. I'm just
Why would you want?
Why would you want to do business with these people? Because it looks bad for you. You have to explain that to the board. You have to explain. Management has to explain that to their shareholders. You're gonna be like, why do you keep doing business with these people?
It's like buying the watch off the guy on the street. You know what I mean? Is that an extreme?
Yeah, no, it's fair.
You know what I mean? Buying the watch
bro,
off
I mean, they can't, right now get mad about.
I've been watching too many Diamond District videos, man. I'm all about the Mazzolito.
Where's my money?
Where's my money? But they can never do the price. They can never. It is brother. I can't pay that price.
I like that guy, man. He's angry all the time.
Who Trax?
Yeah, Trax NYC. I've never seen him happy.
I like Benny.
Even when he's smiling, he's angry, bro. He's hilarious. Anyway, SMCI is dropping down 29.5, Sia. But you know what isn't dropping, Sia? Oil.
You're right there, Sharif. Oil is not dropping. Crude prices have moved higher with Brent at over $110 and WTI at 96, near 96, even as the U.S. is considering easing sanctions on Iranian oil. I'm sorry about that. The U.S. Treasury Secretary has signaled that up to 140 million barrels of Iranian crude could re-enter the market soon. And Iran's disruption of the Strait of Hormuz continues to be a key driver for volatility and risk premium in oil. And Israel has indicated efforts to help reopen the critical shipping route, which is hinting at a possible de-escalation here. Citi has raised near-term oil targets to $120 within the next 1 to 3 months, with a $150 bull case if disruptions get worse. And Saudi officials have suggested an extreme upside risk as well, with $180 oil possible if supply disruptions keep persisting into late April. And Citi's base case has assumed de-escalation within 4 to 6 weeks, which could push Brent back within the $70 to $80 by year end. And this suggests current spike may be temporary rather than structural, but this also heavily depends on the conflict.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, I forget the name of the island where the great majority of the Iranian, pardon me? Kurg Island. Thank you, Sia. That island, that's where I think 90–80% of Iranian oil exports ship out from. There were reports, not saying that they're accurate, there were reports this morning that the Americans are either looking at taking that island or conducting a naval blockade to kind of put pressure on Iranian oil, which didn't jive with me because just before we got that report, we also had a report that President Trump was removing sanctions like he did on Russian oil from Iranian oil, obviously to help with the supply and, you know, to ease prices a little bit. So on one hand, you know, you're going to restrict oil exports by quarantining or blockading the island or taking it over. And the other, you're going to allow Iranian oil to go back online so it doesn't have to operate through the shadow fleet, which is what it does with the Russian and previously Venezuelan oil. We spoke about that. So I don't know how to kind of take all this. There's so many developments. They happen so quickly. Some are contradicting each other. The fact of the matter is, Joey, I think that the sooner this conflict ends, obviously, we get back down to 70, 80 bucks a barrel. I don't think, though, 2026 sees high to mid 50s like we did earlier this year.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's going to be enough supply to come back online.
So I don't know if this is the best kind of comparison, but we know with the tariff tantrum and everything along those lines and the trade deals with the United States and what it made essentially sovereign nations kind of diversify their imports and everything along those lines. Do you think we're going to see that in the same thing with oil, considering it's like, hey, it shows you how fragile the system is. So do we start to diversify in some way so we're not so heavily reliant in a region that is plagued by conflict? Well,
I think the Americans got all the oil they need, right? We know they're not having a supply issue. They have a price issue because the world oil is based, it's a world price.
Yeah.
Well, they got a lot of Venezuelan oil. They have a lot of production. I think they produce.
We ship them millions of barrels a day as well, too.
And the Americans, I believe, produce as much as they consume. It's either 20 or 50 million barrels a day that they're consuming or producing. So they've met an equilibrium. In addition, they have Canadian oil coming in. And the thing about Venezuelan and Canadian oil is it's heavy crude.
Yeah.
It's harder to refine.
Yeah, it's way harder to refine.
That's okay because their Gulf refineries are all ready for that.
Yeah.
So they can refine Canadian crude, they can refine Venezuelan crude. It's really China. Okay? It's Asia who really does rely on the Strait of Hormuz supply.
Yeah.
But again, it affects price. So if you're asking, do we diversify away from fossil fuels, we haven't heard anything like that.
I'm not saying necessarily from fossil fuels, but from
nuclear.
From these specific these regions that are unfortunately
we can't help
oil rich, but plagued by conflict.
Yeah.
We got a couple super chats here, Sharif.
Go ahead, Joe.
Hence you hear me laughing. My boy, Danny boy. I would hire the SMC guys in a heartbeat. They're exactly the sort of go-getters that I'm looking for the head of my Asia division at SCDI. Ticker SCDI, Stolen Cheese Dispenser Incorporated. Shout out to Danny Boy. I think you're absolutely hilarious. And then we also have another one as well, too.
I missed that.
With the Danny Boy one?
Yeah.
We got... Yeah, Fabio Ferreira. China is going to attack Taiwan. €5. Thank you for that. I mean, my boy Wayner's headed over there. I don't know about if that's going to happen. If
headed to
anything,
Taiwan?
If Wayner has anything to say about it, then
He's headed to Taiwan?
Yeah.
Oh, is he Taiwanese?
yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, it's a different type of Mandarin. It's a little bit different. Every time I ask Siri a Mandarin question, it always consistently asks me Taiwanese Mandarin or mainland Mandarin.
Right on.
It's like, can you remember the setting? Because it doesn't remember the setting.
You want down south English or do you want northern English?
Yeah. Sia, we're talking little metals.
We are. We're talking about the nicest metal, well, according to me, gold. Prices have rebounded modestly with gold spot around $4,662, while silver has continued to weaken down to around 1.7%. Both metals are now on track for a losing week. Gold is down almost 9% and silver off more than 10%. And this follows a sharp, broad-based sell-off, with gold dropping 3% in the prior session amid the highlighted micro volatility. So the volatility is tied to the Iranian conflict, and oil price swings are continuing to impact global risk sentiment here. The rising oil prices and geopolitical tension uncertainty is initially supported safe haven demand, but the rising prices are now creating a cross-asset instability. Markets are also struggling to price whether the situation leads to inflationary pressure or growth slowdown. And central banks continue to remain a key long-term buyer, especially since the Russia asset freeze reshaped strategies. And institutional demand is laying the foundation for the bull run, with retail and hedge funds amplifying the move later. And current pullback may be clearing certain weak hands before a potential next leg higher.
Yeah, so it's the last few parts there that caught my attention, Sia. The fact that rising oil prices and, of course, geopolitical instability that comes along with it are supporting the safe haven demand, yet you're not really seeing that the gold or silver act as a safe haven demand, and the market's struggling to price whether the situation leads to inflationary pressure or growth slowdown. And I think that that's actually quite accurate, because what do we do here? So prices are going to go up for oil if they remain high for a long time. We typically get demand destruction. Demand destruction reduces exactly that, demand. So then if demand is down, obviously, we're going to have, it's cyclical, right? Everything is connected in the economy. So that is one thing. But on the other side of the coin, you're seeing more of a macro trend, a longer term trend, which is what? Which is de-dollarization, especially since the beginning of the Ukraine-Iraq conflict. Ukraine-Russia conflict, right? You've seen this de-dollarization push since then, and I think it's been amplified since President Trump enacted tariffs. And so if you have that de-dollarization push, what do we know? That usually you funnel it into gold, and that's what we've been seeing central banks do. They've been buying up a storm because they don't want to hold U.S. dollars on their treasuries or on their national assets. So I don't know how to square this circle, to be quite honest with you. I don't know, if this is just a momentary pullback in gold. I think, if I, gun to my head, that this pullback, not in silver, I'm speaking about gold, is temporary, and that I think that the move away from holding the U.S. dollar once oil settles down continues. Because think about this. They always call it the petrodollar, right? Why do they do that? Because the price of Brent, the price of WTI is in U.S. dollars. You want to buy oil, you got to have freaking U.S. dollars.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what's happening here, right?
Yeah.
People are having to buy U.S. dollars, and that's pushing up the Dixie, right? So.
Well, I mean, as for gold, we've seen that the Chinese were stockpiling this hand over fist. Their reserve just went absolutely through the roof through the past year and a half or so.
Sorry?
Excuse me. Now, as for silver, it's pulled back 3 times the amount, essentially what we've seen in gold. Does that become more attractive for the larger participants? I think so. and I'm referring to gold, right? Considering we're at those highs, we're down 17%, but we're down 40% here in silver off of those highs. And I think what silver was really doing is playing that little brother catch-up trade. But to the point where we realize we go for a use case as well. I think gold is a little bit more important than silver, obviously. So just be cautious of what we got going on. I think eventually the trend in gold will continue and be a little bit stronger than what we've seen here in silver.
I agree. I think the trend in gold continues once this is all over.
Yeah.
And then you get a funneling away from buying U.S. dollars, right? Because we know gold and the U.S. dollar inversely correlated. As the Dixie does better, gold goes down, right? Most of the time.
And then also take into the consideration the lowering of interest rates, right? Like, so that's going to weaken the dollar as well too.
Yes,
so
that's a great point. Actually, a good point. But we're not cutting as much as we.
No, but even so, a quarter point here, a quarter point there, it's still weakening the dollar,
not a bad
right?
Point, bro. Yeah. Scar Joe Rabbit, Sharif, have you read that physical oil is way higher than paper oil? That's what I've heard as well. There is a bit of there's a disconnect, but we saw that as well with gold. I'm not surprised. It's not the first time we saw it with commodities. Remember when we were talking about how much gold was going for during or in China during the big run up, that the actual spot price in China for gold was actually a lot higher than what we were paying here in the open market. So your point is absolutely right. I personally don't know how to play it. Like, I'm not that smart. It's not my wheelhouse to know exactly how to do that. But I do take note of it, and thank you for pointing that out. Sia, this is one of the strongest earnings reports we've seen in a while.
Absolutely. I was reading about this yesterday. So FedEx has delivered a Q3 EPS of $5.25 versus the $4.15 that was expected on a $24 billion revenue versus the $23.5 billion revenue that was expected. Results have improved year over year as well. A $4.51 EPS last year on a $22.2 billion revenue. And the upside surprise is driven mainly by a stronger U.S. domestic shipping volume and improved pricing dynamics. So management of the company has raised full-year EPS guidance to 19.3 to 20.1, between that range, and which is a meaningful upward vision here. And the management has implied a Q4 EPS of $5.80, which is slightly below the street expectations of $5.93 here.
Kind of surprised me because I got to tell you, the U.S. volumes remain strong, not super surprising, but they say supported by a resilient consumer demand. That's good to hear, but it kind of runs counter a little bit to some of the data we've been seeing. We've been talking a lot about delinquencies up, 30-day credit card missed payments, 30-day plus car missed payments. Those are all up month over month sequentially, and of course year over year. We're not talking about GFC levels, so let's not hit the panic button. But the fact that the consumer remains strong, so a counterpoint to the delinquency data that we've been seeing, that's great news. I don't mind hearing that. Also, it says there's global demand. Some global demand indicators are stabilizing, retail specifically, and they're saying production, industrial production, though, the drag on that is easing, which is great. But when you look at the possibility of $100 oil, obviously that hurts a little bit in terms of margins. I still have the bias that this is probably a shorter term issue. But Joey, they say very specifically, tariffs remain a structural headwind with uncertainty following the Supreme Court ruling on prior tariff policies, especially with President Trump and the administration taking a bit of a different approach now. They're not going through IBIT anymore. They're doing these Section 300 or whatever investigations, right? And so every country gets investigated individually about their trade relationship with the United States. And if they find something they don't like, you get slapped.
You get slapped. I kind of want to leave this here. As for FedEx, we talk about the airlines and everything along those lines. And where am I getting with this is, Sharif, is that a lot of the airlines are in talks of like, hey, we want to make 60% of our plane business class. So, right?
Yes.
So what I'm getting at here is driven by strong demand. And where's that demand typically coming from? And you're talking about credit card delinquencies. Well, guess what? The rich don't have credit card delinquencies most likely, right? So it's usually the higher end consumer who's continuously riding this wave and driving the boat essentially while the lower end consumer is starting to struggle a little bit more.
I got a question for you though. Can FedEx just rely on rich people.
I don't think so, right? Because
yeah.
obviously, like it's obviously big issues for your TAM. But if you're such a strong driver, then it's like, hey, maybe we don't need to be as reliant because maybe the lower end consumer just adds a bit of a boost, right? It's like gives you that little bit of a boost. The higher end consumers is like, hey, we're still ordering online, we're still doing all these things, we're getting these deliveries. But when the lower end starts to pick up and add to things, right? That's when you can get the guidance that they've put in right there. The increase in guidance relatively high and everything along those lines. So I'm kind of in the boat of it's really the higher end that's driving things, and then when the lower end is willing to spend more on their credit card, et cetera, is when it really drives this stock in some of these names a little bit.
Let's take a couple of things over here. Hypercube Sharif. Agree with your take on gold and de-dollarization. That could be a huge catalyst for the dollar-dominated gold markets with devalued dollar and physical gold demand rising. I don't disagree with you at all, Hypercube. Thank you for that. David, thank you for that $10 super chat. He's talking to Danny Boy. He says, Danny Boy, you are gold. And then easy peasy. Sigh. This is my inverse 0.2% donation after MU, SNDK, forcing my kid to go to a state university. Come on, bro, that's not bad. USO over GS. Shout out to you. Thank you very much, David. That was actually hilarious. Hey, man, I don't think state universities are all that bad. My nephew goes to UC, University of California. I won't say which one. But yeah, he goes there. It's a good school. You know, there's a lot of variance, I would say, between all the different UC schools. I don't know. Are state schools? Do you know them to be bad? Like just because you don't go to USC, private University of Southern California, and you go to UC.
I mean, it's not JUCO, is it?
Oh,
so, and nothing wrong with JUCO either.
Junior college?
Yeah.
I had no problem with JUCO. Yeah. I didn't know what they called it JUCO, so that's why I hesitated.
DV2.
Think about that a little bit.
DV2, man.
DV2, oh, Division 2?
Yeah,
okay.
JUCO.
All right.
Just a little backtrack here.
Oh.
Look at FedEx's chart. This thing was up 108% at its highs from the April lows.
Is it at the freaking lows? It gapped to 380 and it's trading near the low of the day?
Yeah.
Pull up the 5 on that?
The 5, yeah. We're at the low of the day there, my boy.
That's crazy. We're fading the entire move. What a disaster this market is, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, see ya. What do we got next?
Yeah, we're talking about XPeng. XPeng has delivered 22.25 billion yuan. That is $3.18 billion in revenue, which is up 38.2% year over year. Slightly missing the expectations, but still showing a strong top-line momentum here. Vehicle deliveries have risen 27% year over year to 116,249 units alone. And total cumulative deliveries have reached 721,000 vehicles, which is highlighting a very strong long-term growth trajectory. And charging infrastructure has expanded to 3,159 stations. Now, revenue from vehicle sales has climbed 30% year over year. Gross margin has improved to 21.3% versus the 14.4% year over year, while vehicle margins continue to rise 13% versus the 10%. Now, this shows cost discipline in the company. And the company has reported its first ever quarterly profit with an adjusted EPS of 0.52 yuan. And the balance sheet is strong with $6.81 billion in cash, which obviously gives flexibility for expansion and R&D. And the management is leaning heavily into AI-driven mobility and is targeting 429,445 deliveries in 2025, which is 125.9% increase.
Hangry wife, brother. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I'm sure 10% is nothing for you, man. You're going to make it back next week.
What happened? Where's he going?
He's taking the day off. He's done for the day. So shout out to Hangry Wife. And we hope you have a fantastic weekend, brother. Come back strong. And we'll obviously be here Monday. So make sure to join us. And yeah, take the, get some R&R.
Yeah, and learn from my mistakes. Don't do the 10%. Because you can only do that 10 times and then you're done.
Well, exactly.
So don't do that. I've done that.
Hey man,
Don't do it.
you
I've
gotta
done it on
risk
multiple
some to make
occasions.
some too.
You do,
right?
but you more or less want to risk 1% to make 10%. No.
That'd be ideal.
Yeah, that'd be the
God,
ideal.
I would love that.
Think the noise worked out.
So I'm gonna hang out after we're done
going?
the afternoon
Oh,
rundown.
yeah.
I'm gonna hang out and I'm gonna write. I'm gonna write the code. I was sending you
Up,
my
Jovi.
my built-in risk calculator. Now
Angry,
we
we
just have
love
to
you.
connect it to P. I'm talking to Obi, by the way, guys. Have to connect it to P8. So that was the next step. Once Hugo gave me, got it same day. Right when I spoke to you, I got it, but I didn't get to set it up. So gonna be hanging out.
For a second, I thought you were like, I'm gonna stay back, and I was like, are we doing towers?
Hey, this guy, we're doing towers. I love old man. Nothing changes around here. my
Obi,
guy.
brother, your boy has been substance-free all of 2026,
Yeah,
man.
Can you believe this guy?
Yeah.
This guy's killing it, right?
We're,
front
man,
double
we're coming
bicep.
back, man. We're ready. I won't be hanging around because I'm going to go work on my short game, as I mentioned not too long ago.
The what?
Mini putt.
Okay. I thought you were talking about some of the
Short game?
Gymshark shorts that you had there.
My shorts,
which
my
caused
shorts
the
game.
whole thing.
Yeah, man. I inquired about some shorter ones, but they don't have them.
What do you want? 3-inch shorts? What are you doing?
Yeah, man.
Nah,
I mean,
man,
it's
that's crazy. Stop,
They got
bro.
they got the
And you
mesh.
hate on me for wearing tights? Man, you're walking around with
Brother,
3-inch shorts.
brother, you wear the tights with just the shirt.
You got to wear a long shirt
That